You know it's hard out here for a pimp when he trying to get this money for the rent, for the Cadillacs and gas money spent. We'll have a whole lot of bitches jumping shit. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when he tryna get this money for the rent, for the Cadillacs and gas money spent. Will cause a whole lot of jumping shit. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when he tryna get this money for the rent, for the Cadillacs and gas money spent. Will have a whole lot of jumping shit.
What's going on, party people? It's your man, 50 Grand, the Godfather, Nate Milton, and you are about to listen to another excellent episode from the Nefarious Media Network. Since January of 2025, we have been putting it down for the crown, and we've been committed to bringing you truthful, thoughtful, turned-up commentary as it pertains to the worlds of sports, politics, pop culture, pro wrestling, entertainment, and life. Yes, life. This thing that we are all just trying to get through day by day. An electric word called life, as the man used to say. And that brings us to the drive for 500. Yes, 500 YouTube subscribers, which gets us halfway to monetization, and 500 Patreon subscribers. Patreon.com/Nefarious Media Network. That's our stretch goal for the year. Because if we hit those marks, it allows us the flexibility and the freedom and the funds, quite honestly, to do some more things here at the network, to be more consistent with our shows, to bring you new shows, and to bring some people on to help with production. So if you believe in us, man, if you believe in what we're doing here, because we got a lot of hard-working people, myself included, working 50, 60 hours a week at the shoot jobs, got families, got kids, got responsibilities, but we still do this, man, because we love this and we believe in this. And if you believe in us and you love the shows that we do, help us out, man. Help a brother out. Help a sister out. That's all we asking, because we are trying to change the game by any means necessary, even if those means may be nefarious.
You know, when they ask you that, you just say yes.
Soup salad or breadsticks?
I would love
yes.
I would love the super salad.
Hey, what is up, my party people? We are out here with another episode of the Super Salad Podcast. I, of course, am your host, OG Rachel, also known as Rachel Eiley, and I am here with one of my awesome friends, Nate, brother Nate, who is also here to hang out with me and have a fun show today. Nate, how are you doing?
What's up, Rach? Another episode of Super Salad. Excited for it. A lot of good things to talk about with this man Peacemaker, but also we're gonna do a deep dive on the character of Wonder Woman over the years. So I'm excited for it. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good. Things have been interesting. It's getting colder finally. It was quite hot for quite a while in Chicago, but now it's getting colder. I'm actually in New York right now visiting my family, so that
Okay.
will be fun. If you hear a crazy little person come in and start screaming, it's most likely my nephew, like 90%, but you know.
Okay, I was like, I didn't want to say it because I'm very perceptive, Rach, and I was like, the background looks a little different. Like there's some like
Yeah.
there's like some ambiance there that wasn't there before. It's like, is Rachel in a different place? Is
I
she on
am
Earth
in
X?
yes. No, definitely not Earth X. That's let's not let's not talk about Earth X. So we can talk all about Peacemaker though. That we
Yes.
can do.
So last time we talked about the first 4 episodes of season 2 of Peacemaker. And when we left off, we were on the aforementioned Earth X, Rachel, where we saw Leona Adebayo being chased through the streets of this cul-de-sac in this community on Earth
Yes.
X. And then we come back for the final 2 episodes where we get more information about this world and why it is the way it is in episode 7. So let's start there, Rach, because we find out that, surprise, Earth X is not all it's cracked up to be. It's actually a world where the Nazis won. It's actually a world run by white supremacists, and the terrific trio, if you will, of
Yes.
the Peacemaker from Earth X that is gone. Augie, the dad, and Keith, the brother, are actually like upholding this white supremacist society. So what did you think about that reveal? And then, we also had a great conversation between Judo Master and Adebayo later on in the episode. What were your thoughts on the Earth X of it all in episode 7?
So it was a very interesting portrayal. I think in other media pieces, I know thinking mainly on the CW crossover, like they didn't really get into the world building of it as much. It's just kind of like Nazis, yay. They didn't really get into like how the world is functioning and like how things have been going. So I thought that was interesting that they kind of butt into that a bit and like how, how things have actually worked from there, what is similar, what is not similar. I did write down 2 notes for the entire episode, and those notes were zippity zap bitches, and then that was the most amount of people I've killed in a swimming pool with a telephone wire. So I was digging Judo Master in this episode. He was low key cracking me up. I loved him rescuing Adebayo in a very amusing way. And I was like, you know what? I feel like he's valid. There's there's a lot of evil people on this earth, so I think he's valid.
Yeah, I think this is a good episode for Judo Master. Gave us a little bit of character development for him. I liked him in season 1, but we talked about it last year when Vanessa, or the year before, when Vanessa, Chris, Mark LaFerriere, and I did our season 1 Peacemaker recap. Like, there was such a big deal made about Judo Master, but we kind of felt like, they didn't really flesh out the character in season 1. So I liked what they gave us here, not only in this episode, but in episode 8. And then I think one of my few criticisms, because I do have a few criticisms, because overall I like season 2, but my first criticism, Rach, would be I wish we had spent more time on Earth X before we left, because there was some really good things like the vigilantes kind of having their back and forth, Adebayo and Judo Master kind of adjusting to this world. And then when we get everybody kind of at Augie's house, and Augie's kind of going over why this world is the way it is, and you don't fully agree with him because he's a white supremacist Nazi, but you can understand, Rach, like kind of why he is the way he is, and he's, in his mind, I am doing the best I can in a situation that isn't ideal.
Yes, which is interesting because I think a lot of people in our world also kind of have that mindset and sometimes use that mindset to kind of downplay what parts of that world that they are propping up by their presence. I don't want to get too off base into politics or anything, but I think it's an interesting observation that he felt that what he was doing was the best part, while it's people like Vigilante were clearly doing other things that they thought was the best use of their time. I just feel like the person's like base of like their purpose and their role in the world kind of shaped, what they thought that they could do with it, and where their limitations were, because it
Yeah.
felt like Augie felt like he was very limited in what his role could be because people had certain expectations of him. I feel like it's just something that like people should keep in mind of like their view of themselves, and like, what can you do for the world, but also like what could you do if you didn't care what people were like expecting of you.
That part, yeah, because it's like he's like, hey, I'm doing the best I can, but it's like, my man, you're a whole superhero and a pop culture icon in this world, and all it takes is the small steps to affect change, and you're not even doing that because you don't want to rock the boat. And so I think so. There's a couple things like let's stay at Augie's house for a second. Augie's House, the sitcom nobody wanted to watch.
Literally.
Because so there's a couple things that I really liked about this whole thing. Like, number one, we have Keith going through his anger at our Chris being the person that killed his brother.
Yes.
You've got Augie, who's kind of like, yes, he's sad that his son is dead, but he's also like, our son was a screw up.
Yeah.
This was going to happen eventually, and I don't know why, but I believe that he didn't kill him maliciously, that it was an act of self-defense. We get the reappearance of I believe the actor's name is Lachlan Monroe as the cop from season 1, trying to come into Augie's house, and Augie's like, yeah, you're not coming in my house. And then we get, and this is how good I think the writing of this version of Augie is, because when Augie won, like our Earth's Augie got killed in season 1, I was not sad at all, Rachel. I was not sad for a minute, not for a second.
I can imagine.
But when this Augie got killed, like, I wasn't sad per se, but I was like, I wanted to spend more time with that character just so that our Peacemaker could bounce things off of him. Because I think that would have been good not only for the story, but for Chris himself to kind of have this conversation with the version of his dad.
Yeah, because you could tell it was kind of blowing his mind when they were having that conversation and talking about, and he's like, no, I'm not like a full-blown Nazi, which, like, arguable, but
right.
It was kind of blowing his mind that his dad wasn't like, yes, I'm a Nazi, which low standards, but take what we can get. I think they created some very interesting versions of people, and I really do wish we got to spend just like a couple more episodes in Earth X, like with those versions of people, and kind of seeing people deal with the different versions of themselves. With Vigilante, I feel like we could have gotten a lot more, honestly, between those two versions of himself, but also Chris dealing with the alternate version of his dad and his brother.
Yeah, and so then we get because this is the bulk of the episode where they're kind of going through things. Like, we have to get everybody to meet up at Augie's house for this final confrontation. The cops come in, everybody's shooting everybody. I
always love as a lawyer, I always have to say I love a good come back with the warrant scene. So
yes, so everybody getting shot up here. To quote the meme, him, her, them, bodies. Everybody's getting it right. Yes. And we get a scene again. This is why I like a lot of what Gunn did in this series, or in this season, because we get all the gratuitous violence here with this group of police officers storming the house, but we get the point where Vigilante's killed, or Vigilante 2 has killed Augie, so he's off the board. Keith is like, yo, they killed my dad, and so he's trying to kill our group of the 11th Street kids, and so they stop him, and they're about to kill Keith, and Chris just has this emotional breakdown where he's like, everybody stop, because even though this is quote unquote the bad Keith, it's still his brother in some way, shape, or form, and he can't go through that trauma of killing his brother again. And so they leave him alive, which I'm sure is not going to come back in any way, shape, or form. Rach,
definitely not. And they definitely didn't show that scene in the ambulance with him.
Yeah, that's not coming back in any way.
Oh no, I'm sure that'll be fine. We'll never hear from him again. Definitely.
What'd you think of that though? Because like I think the way not only the scene was written, but the way Cena kind of acted it. Because like for most of the beatdown, he was just kind of stoic and just sitting while everybody else was fighting. And then when they're about to kill Keith, he just like no, stop, and he runs over to his brother. Like I thought that was really good acting by John Cena.
Yeah, no, I really like that scene a lot. It kind of, I think the show is that it's a lot of fun and they have a lot of goofy takes. But I think it was one of those deeper moments where they really dug into like those deeper moments or those deeper emotions of, having interactions have been like, yeah, this person, I don't know them, but they're actually also the alternate version of my brother that I never got to see grow up. And like
Mhm.
part of me is always going to be attached to that, even if they're literally trying to kill my friends right now. Um, so I I think it'll be very interesting to see where they do come back with that and where Heath's mind is when they come back, and if he is going to be seeking some side of revenge on Chris, or if he's eventually going to take a different perspective. So,
Mhm, mhm.
who knows where this show could be going with a million different things. They have a million different possibilities. So,
Yeah. And I think like we're totally gonna get villain Keith because it felt like, at least in this episode, the one person that could keep him back from like those more violent impulses, surprisingly enough, was Augie. And now
yeah,
Augie's dead. So there's no kind of tether for
yeah.
Keith. And
And
so
he
I
was
feel like,
really just like blaming Chris for everything.
yes. And so he already killed my brother, and now him and his friends have killed my dad. Like, and so I think that grief is going to be interesting to see when and if they bring that version of Keith back.
Yeah,
But then everybody runs through the magical door, Rach,
they
and
did.
they make it back to our world. And who is waiting? Oh, yeah. I think we should probably talk about the B plot or the C plot, which was this whole time where they're off on Earth X. We got Rick Flag in cahoots with Lex Luthor, and he's building this device so that he can find the UMD or the UMC. I can't remember what
Whatever.
the unfolding chamber. And
I
so we're starting to see kind of the descent of this man, Rick Flag. What did you make of that part of the story?
it got me, I when watching Superbad was like, oh yeah, there's Rick Flag. I got my DC history, I got my people.
Mm-hmm.
A good, upstanding man of the law. So seeing him like that and really knowing also that like it was just purely revenge based, like
Yeah.
it's sad, that got to me that like, he's been working his whole life to be this, this lawman and this guy that enforces justice. And now he's kind of just like, tossing all of it away and, playing footsie with this serial killer or, massive
Yeah.
killer of people, trying to, find his perfect revenge. But he's thinking, you can clearly see that, he's thinking if he gets the perfect revenge, it's all going to be better now. And I think maybe next season, if, he's still around, I think he probably will be. We're going to probably get to see him acknowledge that, like, no, that actually didn't make anything better. Like, that didn't bring anything back.
Yep.
And see how he's going to deal with it. That there is he going to join our other friends in trying to get Chris back? Is the next season going to be entirely on this new Earth plane, or I don't know what we're calling it? It's interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
I have a million thoughts about Rick Flag Senior, Rach, but I'm going to put a pin in him right now because I think the next episode is probably like the Rick Flag episode where we can really deep dive into like what's going on with him.
Yes.
But yeah, just so you know, audience, like Rick Flag Senior, not in a good place right now.
Not in the best place. Sorry, buddy.
So when Chris and his friends come out of Vigilante's mom's house, they are waiting for them. All of Argus is waiting for them, and Rick Flag is leading this team. And Vigilante kind of looks at the friends he's made along the way, Rach, and he's like, "Hey, this was cool, but that what happens on Earth X stays on Earth X. I'm going back over here with the people that pay me." And Chris is arrested to end episode 7. What did you make of that conclusion?
So I did appreciate him going to the Argus people and being like, all the other people that are here with me did nothing wrong. They all convinced me to bring this back to you and cannot be held accountable for any of my actions, basically. I was like, that's Chris's version of being a good friend. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it also, I'm looking for the right word to kind of describe Chris. He's very like defeated. He's very much having given up. I think it's something we've all seen in other characters when they're almost like reaching a level of being like suicidal. I don't think that's quite where he's at, but I think he's at a level where he's just like, yeah, lock me in a cell for the rest of my life. My life is pointless. And he doesn't seem to have anything to care yet about. He's given up his, any qualms of relationship with Harcourt, which they do then get into in the next episode and how that deals. But I think he is at a place, even though, we just had some interesting interactions with the dad and brother from the other world. He's just at a point where he's given up and he's kind of just saying, whatever, I'll just sit in a room. I don't want to visit my friends. I don't want anyone to visit me, and kind of go from there. And it's a sad spot, hard place to see a character in, especially when, he's done some good stuff this season. He's done some crazy stuff this season, created a lot of chaos, but it's a hard spot to see him in.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this version of Peacemaker this season, Rach, is so when he goes to Earth X, it's not a literal suicide thing that's going on, but there is kind of this almost quasi or emotional detachment from the world that he lives in, the reality that he's a part of, even to the point where he leaves that note for his friends saying that their lives would be better off without him. And he just kind of jumps into the fantasy full bore. And so then he's happy in this fantasy. Then the fantasy isn't what it seems. And then fantasy dad gets killed and we almost killed fantasy brother. And so then he comes back and he's in a situation where I can't fight my way out of this. I can't run my way out of this. I'm just going to give up. Not only, to help my friends, but because I don't believe I'm worthy of being redeemed. And that's kind of where we start off episode 7 at, Rach, where he's been locked up. He's refusing visits. He's not writing. Like, Eagly is out here. I've never seen an eagle so depressed, Rach. Eagly out here just depressed.
So sad.
But I think just without being too explicit about it, Gunn is kind of getting into not only a mental health thing, but also more pointedly male mental health, which is something that still doesn't get talked about enough. And so when you see this big, strong dude going through this and just wanting to shut himself off from everything, I think it's sad. It's well acted by John Cena, but it's sad. And it rings true to a lot of people out there.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good observation, honestly. And a very smart one, that he's managing to draw very real parallels to it, but in such a way that's still very, fantasy based and very, I don't want to say like manly, but, there's definitely a perception that talking about mental health, talking about guys' mental health is not like a manly thing to do. I think that perception damages a lot of people. There's still a lot of stigma out there about it, and things. And I've done a lot of suicide prevention work in the past, working with organizations like To Write Love in Her Arms. They've done some really great work across the country, just raising awareness and telling people that you're not alone. Things get better. Life is worth fighting for. And that work definitely impacted a lot of young women, and some young men. I've definitely met some great guys through it as well. But I think there's still a very key part missing of getting men to address mental health. It is something I actually see in my work, particularly in situations where a relationship has gone badly. A man, or anybody, but I know a lot of times a man feels like they're at the end of the rope, they screwed everything up, and that there's just no point anymore, and they either choose an act of violence, either directed towards somebody else or directed towards themselves. And there's still just such a gap of understanding, I think we have, of what drives people to those places, especially with men, because there's such an unwillingness for people to talk about it. So I really do appreciate James Gunn kind of going in on this, and drawing these parallels in a way that kind of opens up the conversation. I think it does so in a way where it's, it doesn't feel like you're being attacked by, like mental health and being like, talk about your feelings. Rah.
Yeah.
But it's, hey, you could feel like you've been in this situation before, where you've given up hope. You don't feel like there's anything else there for you. That's, you have options. It's not all over at that point. So I think it was a very needed conversation for,
And it's kind of funny, Rach. I think, particularly if you're talking about aiming this conversation towards men, two of the best examples of that conversation this year have come from superhero medium.
Yes.
In Peacemaker season 2, but then also in Thunderbolts, which Ray Williams, our producer, is here. Spoiler alert, Ray Williams. Thunderbolts are the new Avengers. And you had that conversation about mental health in that film as well. And so I like it because, I'm somebody, and I've talked about it on the podcast like 13 years ago. I went through a mental health issue and was able to get through it with the help of friends and going to therapy, which is another thing that guys don't really want to talk about. But it is better once you get through it, and it's much better than the alternative. And we kind of see that in this series with Chris. Like, the more he tries to detach himself from his friends and tries to do everything on his own, the worse things get for him.
Yeah. And it's really even just in getting back to our world where he really like unites with his friends and like is willing to work to them, that it actually, things finally start working for him. And then, he kind of makes that attempt to like, oh, go, leave me alone, do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it just,
yes,
he just
because there is one thing that solves everything, Rachel, and I will say this because I don't think Rachel should be on record saying this. Dope money solves everything, because that's how Peacemaker is bailed out of jail from his friends, because Adebayo and Harcourt and Economos go to Adrian and they're like, yo, you have all this money and you're not using it to help Chris. And Adebayo shows very, very smartly, Rach, that not only is she somebody that cares for all of these people, even Adrian, but she's also her mother's daughter, because she uses the Jedi mind trick on him, because she's like, if I were you, like if Chris was my best friend, I'd do anything to help him, but I guess I'm just a better friend than you are. And he's like, no, you're not. And he takes all the blood money, the drug money, and uses it to bail Chris out. I thought that was a really nice scene between the two of them.
That was great. I really appreciated that. She I think Jedi mind trick is the right term. She got into her mind and psyched him out to do the right thing, get the blood money. I'm not gonna try to do this through a realist lens, because like obviously if he was on a charge that serious, there wouldn't have bail posted, but that's okay. We can. There's enough suspended reality here that we don't need to talk about like the realities of the criminal justice system.
It works different for Argus, Rach. It's different rules.
Of course. Got to give somebody cash bail.
Yes. The aforementioned money tree, I guess, that Adrian is growing in his mom's basement.
Yes.
But so they bail Chris out. Like you said, even after being bailed out, Chris decides to dip, and he checks himself into this random motel, and his friends go to him and they're like, hey, like, what are you doing? And they all kind of, it's like an intervention, Rach.
Yeah.
And you've got Economos and Adrian and Harcourt and Odds, and they're all like, hey, like, this is what you mean to us. This is why you can't do this on your own. And he finally kind of gets the picture, from them talking to him. And we get, again, Chris is hung up on this boat thing, which we do see in flashback, where they're at the rock cruise, when him and Harcourt are both like crazy drunk, and they go to the rock cruise and they dance and share a kiss, and she gets freaked out, and then that's the end of that. But Chris is hung up on this, he says it's not because, he wants a relationship or anything. We know that to be a lie. But I think the deeper thing that he's hinging everything on is, if that didn't mean anything, then maybe I don't mean anything to anybody. And so she finally tells him, like, yes, you idiot, it meant everything. And then he goes in and does a happy dance. So I thought all of this stuff with the 11th Street kids was really well done, Rach.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that scene was very well played. I think it was like each person really, appealing to him and saying, like, this is what you mean to us. This is why, you can't just disappear in this world. We need you. This world needs you. I think that especially the stuff with Harcourt, I was a little bit confused in the timeline with the boat and everything. Just because I haven't watched the first season, so I was like, okay, this happened at some point, and they were doing things, and yeah.
Yes. So all of these flashbacks to this period is basically stuff that happened in between the two seasons, because we didn't get any of this in season 1 either.
Gotcha. Okay, that is good to know. I think it kind of filled in the blanks of some of the stuff that we had questions about their relationship, and where exactly they stand. And I think her finally admitting to him that, like, yeah, of course, no, you do mean that to me, which, like, we already know that because we already saw how everything she went through for him for the entire series and all that stuff. So, but getting to hear her acknowledge it, I think that really put it in for him at the end. And then everything goes to shit again, because this is the end of a season, and that's how it works.
Well, before we get to that, again, I want to give John Cena his credit for that happy dance, because it was realistic is the word I would use, Rachel, because it was stupid, but it was just joyful and jubilant.
Yes,
that he matters to somebody, and he matters to this friend group, but especially he matters to her. And then we also get another scene that's not as joyous, but I think it is equally as heartfelt, when we have Leona go talk to her fiance or her wife, and it's like, and the wife is like, this isn't going to work, and she's like, I know, but I need to tell you this anyway. And they kind of part ways with some understanding of each other.
No, I liked that part a lot. And it was going back to the conversation that she had with Judo Master, that, like, okay, well, you're not giving her a chance either. I think that kind of got in her head and had her think things through a bit. And it was kind of apparent throughout the season that, like, this relationship's over. It's not gonna get fixed magically. But I think they gave it a very realistic view of, okay, yeah, relationships end, but, like, let's get this to a point where this doesn't have to be like a gaping wound, or like a very shattered break that you can never touch again. Let's end this smoothly, and being able to move on without having to go to therapy for 1,000,000 years about your ex.
Yes. But somebody who may need to go to therapy for 1,000,000 years, Rachel, is the aforementioned Rick Flag Sr. Because this man, and this is what I wanted to talk about, Rach, because this is the second part of the things that didn't quite work for me this season. Because as you mentioned, like, we see Rick Flag Sr. in Superman. If you watch Creature Commandos, he's in that as well, and that is supposed to be canon to all of this. And in Creature Commandos, he's like a tough military government guy, but there is still some humanity and still some good in him. And then in this series, we see, like, obviously he's dealing with the death of his son at the hands of Peacemaker, but he just kind of goes from 0 to 100 in that we need to kill all these metas. No, not kill all these metas, but we need to get all these metas off the planet, send them to salvation is what he calls it. And that's a reference to the comics. He sent them to salvation on this other planet through the interdimensional door. And all of that, I'm like, maybe if we had more time to develop this, I could understand it. But we go from Rick Flag Sr. being very stoic and not wanting to deal with Lex Luger. He's not dealing with the wrestler from the 90s. Lex Luthor, not wanting to deal with Lex Luthor, to I'm fully in with Lex Luthor's tech guy. I'm
the creepy porn guy,
I'm doing blow with all of Lex's associates. Like, Mr. Flag, where did this part of your life come from? I'm in a relationship with this robot lady, even though she doesn't show me any affection in return. He's got a lot going on. What did you make of kind of this heel turn, to go back to a wrestling phrase, for Rick Flag Sr.?
It felt very unexpected, and to some degree, like, not quite written out well. It felt very like one note, that they was just like, oh, he's doing this now. We didn't really show how we got here, but this is where we are. I did appreciate that they gave a shout out to the one henchman being named Otis, because that's Lex's perpetual henchman in every media property ever. So I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. But I just wish we got to see, like, more of his emotional journey over the season, that he kind of, because you very much get the sense from the start that like he's not totally hung up on this. He just kind of wants to see it. Like he wants
Yeah.
to see what happens, and then it's more like it feels like it was more a perpetual thing throughout the season, but like we didn't get to see that. We're just seeing the end point and like saying, okay, well, this must have been building up throughout the season, that he's now at this point where he's, you know, strung out on revenge and coke and just
all I needed was one coke scene before this coke scene, James Gunn. Just
well,
let me know that he's on that stuff.
Yeah, and then he had the weird interaction with Harcourt where she was like, "Oh, you didn't want me to call you General," and he was just like, "Oh, yeah." Anyway, I was like,
yeah.
Is that just to show us that he's strung out on coke and doesn't know what he's doing, or like? But
and like I know that it's only 8 episodes, Rach, but here's like I think, and I had the same critique with some of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus, and then like the Netflix shows, like. You don't have to stick to this set amount. Like the Netflix shows never needed to be 13 episodes each. Like whatever your story fits in, whether it's 7 episodes, 10 episodes, 11 episodes, 9 episodes, like fit that to your story, because I think we did need at least one more episode to take us from Earth X back to the present. And in that episode, maybe we could have seen more of Rick Flag Sr. like dabbling into the yayo, or more of Rick Flag Sr. and his relationship with Sasha Bordeaux, because like we see them talk once. There's a reference that he's her girl, that she's his girlfriend. We see them in bed once, and then she's gone. And it's like because Sasha makes a big choice at the end of the episode, and so like I needed more from her in terms of like, why is this not okay anymore? And then like there's the scene where Rick Flag is in the meeting with, I guess, the U.S. government or the governments of the world, and he's like, "This is my big plan. We're going to send everybody, all these metas, to this planet." And she just kind of has this look like, "That's too far." It's like I wanted to see how we got to too far, though.
Right? Yeah, like you just showed us the very end point of this. You didn't show us all the things leading up to it, to how we got there, and then yeah, I wish they really like delved in and fleshed out her character a lot, because I feel like there's like a lot of stuff going on there about that, like they could have delved into, of like, oh, how would you become the robot lady? How do you feel about them like replacing all your shit with robotics? There was a lot there that they could have really dug into. So I kind of wish they did that instead of just had her as a prop for Rick Flag, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, like that to me is like the big disappointment for this season. Like I still like the season overall, though. But I do feel like, especially if Rick Flag Sr. is supposed to be one, maybe not the big bad, but at least one of our boss level threats in this new universe, I needed more of the reason why, because his beef up to this point has been very personal with Chris. It's like him and Chris, and now it's all metas, even though Chris is not a meta, but it's like all metas are bad.
I was like, why? I was like, he's not a meta human, right? He's just strong
dude with guns.
I was like, that's kind of random. I mean, I guess you can use it as an excuse to get at Chris, but like, I don't know, man. Feels like you didn't flush that one out totally.
So we get to Salvation because this whole time, Rick Flag Sr. has been doing these experiments where he's sending teams of Argus agents through all of these doors, and most of these doors are not good, Rach. We get the planet of like I don't know what you would call them, but like the little cutesy things that start killing people.
Like rip people's faces off. I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. Maybe not. I didn't need to see his like face post being eaten off. Like I could have dealt with that, but
we get the vortex planet where it's just like the vortex like tries to suck them in and they have to pull them out real quick. We get the crazy spider planet.
Yes. So I did want to comment on that quickly because it was very clearly saying that like we're going on like dimensions instead of like Earths. So like that drew it interesting to me. I first brought up with like, because we were saying, obviously Earth X, but they were referring to it as another dimension. So it's like, is this just like a different way of referring to them in the DC universe? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because and then like the whole thing is they're trying to find some place that is able to be lived on by humans or by metas, and so like they've got all these scanners and stuff, and people are dying left and right. And again, as they're carting these random mangled / and or dead Argus agents past Rick Flag Sr., he's just having a good old time, Rach, just laughing it up, doing coke.
Doing coke, having a great time, being like, oh, that's sad you got your face eaten off. Time to do more coke.
And so in this process, we see Bordeaux, who's kind of like, I don't know about this. But also we see Tim Meadows' character, Flory.
Yes.
And he's like, this is bullshit. Like, what are we doing here? Because even though, and again, I think this goes back to that episode where Flory said Economos did the right thing by reporting that they had taken Chris into custody. Yes, he's an asshole. Yes, he's an antagonist up to this point, but he's still a decent person.
Yeah.
In some respects, he's as decent as we thought Rick Flag Sr. was, but apparently Rick Flag Sr. is not decent anymore.
Yeah, I did appreciate that they took an extra few steps to flesh him out a bit as a character, and being seeing what's going on, being like, hey, I'm actually not just comedic relief, but this is fucked up. So I like that. I like that they gave him a few extra beats there.
Yes, and again, this is all James Gunn, because the juxtaposition of him telling that crazy strip club story to him being emotionally distraught that this teammate has been mangled by these random munchies is what the closest thing I could think of.
Yeah.
But Flory, again, if we had another episode, I think we could have fleshed Flory out even more.
Yeah.
Than we got. So flashback. We have not a flashback in the sense that these episodes all have flashbacks, but flashback to the A plot where the 11th Street kids, Chris is finally cool with everybody. They go back to the rock cruise. How is this rock cruise staying in business, Rachel? It doesn't seem sound.
No, probably not.
And does it ever go anywhere? Because the 2 times we've seen the rock cruise, it's just been docked in the harbor.
Yep. It's like we had a yacht night my first year of law school, and they were like, oh, it's a little stormy out, so we're probably just going to sit in the harbor on the boat. I was like, great. This is so stupid.
Just go sit on a boat in the rain. That's
it was
exactly
really
what
boring.
I want to do.
I was like, this is disappointing. But
oh, wow. But this was not a boring boat, Rachel, because we had the biggest band in James Gunn's universe, Foxy Shazam, playing their hit that we know from this series, Oh Lord, and it's the extended performance of the song. And while they're playing the song, we get this montage of the 11th Street kids getting all of the drug money and using it to open up a new spy business called Checkmate, which is again another reference from DC Comics. And not only do we have the 11th Street kids as part of Checkmate as they're doing the hero walk down the hall, Rach, we also have Sasha Bordeaux, who was added to this team. We have Flory, Winston Flory added to the team, or Langston Flory added to the team, and we've got Judo Master now as part of the team.
Yes, I thought that was interesting. They were like, I mean, I guess they're kind of throwing them in there as side characters thrown, but I have enjoyed their development over the season, and kind of seeing how they go from there.
Here's the thing, Rach. At first, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like it, because I think there's an interesting story to tell if Judo Master, Bordeaux, and Flory still stay with Argus, and they've got the moral conundrum of, do we want to still work here? How can we work here and help the system from within the system? But I also just kind of like it. Now we've got all the people that we actually liked in this series on one side of the aisle, and we can root for all of our faves in one group. And Ray's got the picture there of our new team, our new group of Checkmate as they walk out of the building. But yeah, I had my qualms at first, but I'm like, no, I actually like this, because at some point Flory and Bordeaux and Judo Master would have eventually flipped. Let's just do it now so that everything's a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah. And I think it did make sense with, what was going on in Argus, and them kind of being like, yeah, no, we're not with this. So
yeah.
Made sense.
How familiar are you with Checkmate from the comics?
Not super. I did know that it was because it's an Amanda Waller thing, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I knew of it basically. I think it's one of like the 4 million things they from the DC universe they mentioned in Smallville. So, you know,
Yes, yeah, when they had Pam Grier playing Waller.
yeah.
Underrated performance. But yeah, I'm not super familiar with Checkmate Rach, but I do think this is almost a Marvel-y thing to do where we take the name of a thing and kind of the structure of a thing and then fit it to form what we want to say. And so like this
Yeah.
isn't exactly Checkmate from the comics, but it's close enough and we can use it to tell stories with Adebayo and Harcourt and Economos and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they will do, which I mean to be fair, DC kind of does that too. They kind of just like throw names that like, oh, this was the thing in the comics and throw that on somebody's name, cough, white canary, cough. What? And go from there. So I could see it. But yeah, I think they'll kind of take what they want and throw in some new stuff and just kind of go.
Speaking of go, Rach, the final scene of season 2 of Peacemaker. Chris is happy, man. He's got the woman that he wants. He's got a team. He's got a new purpose in life. Nothing could go wrong, Rach. Nothing could bring this man down. And as soon as he goes back to his random hotel, a bag is thrown over his head. He's thrown into a shady government van, and he is brought to Argus, where Rick Flag Sr. pushes him through the dimensional portal. He is stuck on Salvation. And as Chris tries to run back to get through the portal, Flag Sr. closes it on him, saying, "This is for Ricky, you piece of shit." And Chris Smith is trapped on Salvation. And we hear like wild beasts in the background. And we don't know what's going to happen until the next time we see Peacemaker.
Yep. Because that's how we do season finales, you know. You can't ever end on just like the high note. You gotta throw them in the middle of it. God, I used to watch a show that would do that, but like they would end the season in like the middle of the battle. I was like, it's not even just like a cliffhanger. It was like
Right.
the episode's like halfway over, and it used to piss me off so much. Anyway, I'm glad they don't do that at least. But you know, that you gotta end on a cliffhanger. It's a tradition. I definitely interested in seeing where next season goes and what's going on the aptly named Salvation, and you know what we're going to do. So how much of the season is going to be on Earth and how much of it is going to be on Salvation, and see
so that brings us to a question here, Rach. So two things. Number one, Salvation, for those that don't know, and I'm not a DC Comics expert, but I do know a little bit about this. There was a comics run called, I think it may have even been called Salvation Run, where basically all of the baddies got thrown onto a planet, and you had like Joker, Lex Luthor, people of that ilk. And it's like, what do you do when villains are in this society? And they're like running the society. And it was an interesting take on things. I'm kind of intrigued to see what Gunn will do with this version of Salvation. But the bigger question, Rach, because James Gunn has come out and said in interviews following season 2 that there would not be another season of Peacemaker, which I don't believe. I think eventually we'll have another season of Peacemaker. But let's say we don't get Peacemaker season 3 for another 4 or 5 years. These characters are going to have to come back in some way, shape, or form, Rach. Do you think we get a Checkmate show where their whole goal is trying to get Chris back? Do you think the story's picked up in the movies? Where do you think we finish the story next?
Interesting. I could definitely see a Checkmate show where it's, you know, it's not like Chris is clearly not like the focus, but like a main plot is, you know, trying to figure out what the heck is going on with him and Salvation, but like more clearly so that like Adebayo is the focus and she's the main character here. Kind of that kind of thing. I could definitely dig that. I do also think it's possible that it gets picked up in a movie. I was thinking, obviously, because you know, Rick Flag is working with Lex Luthor on this, and obviously the metahuman, quote unquote, that Lex Luthor wants to get out to is Superman, who is also not a metahuman, but you know, we can keep throwing that word around. And go from there. But so I don't know. I think it's possible it could show up in a movie. I think that'd be very interesting. I would like to see the fight that they try to get Superman through that portal. But
Yeah.
that's going to be something.
I'm so torn on this, Rach, because part of me wants, and I do think that this is probably the most likely thing, even though nothing's for sure when you're talking not only this genre, but also the corporate aspect of it all. Like, is WB pleased with the numbers for Peacemaker season 2? Do they want to invest more into this and stuff like that?
To give up on things halfway through the plot.
Yeah. Like the famously slow to react company like Warner Brothers. They would never cut anything off prematurely.
Never.
But I think a Checkmate series is probably likely, and I'd enjoy that. Like, I think your main story, your main subplot could kind of be like, what's going on with Chris? How do we get Chris back? But I think they could also do something interesting, like almost an old school meta of the week type of thing.
Oh, I would be down with that.
Where they're like helping out these metas that are in need each episode, but they're still trying to find out what's going on with Chris in the background.
Yes, the freak of the week setup, which I feel like is another thing we can attribute to Smallville largely.
Yes.
No, I think that'd be really interesting. It would definitely be kind of old school with like Flash and Arrow and their kind of villain of the week setup. And I feel like that'd be really interesting, but not so much of just like a villain of the week, but like, actually like helping them and seeing, what their story is, and also
almost like X-Files meets Smallville in that way.
I'd be so down with that.
Just ran and I think the good thing with having a team this kind of big is you can have smaller team ups. Like, I think we've already seen Harcourt work with Fleury. We've seen Fleury work with Economos. We've seen Sasha and Harcourt kind of on the same page, but like, and Judo Master and Ads. Like, I think Ads and Fleury on a mission would be just entertaining. Just like Tim Meadows giving off all the Unk vibes, and Ads just like, I'm running the show, and just I think that'd be fun. Seeing Judo Master and Adrian on a case would be fun.
Yes. I think that'd be very fun. I really enjoyed Judo Master and how they played him up this season. So I think him like going into the group more and like, getting focused as like a normal group member, I think that's going to be really fun.
Yes, I hope they do a Checkmate series. But then in terms of like the movie stuff, obviously we've got Supergirl coming up.
Yes.
We've got Man of Tomorrow coming up. And I think Supergirl obviously is going to be connected, but I think it's going to be less lore heavy than the next Superman movie, which I think is directly going to deal with Lex. And if we're dealing with Lex, we're dealing with Tony Montana, Rick Flag Sr. out here.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no, it's Supergirl definitely usually has her own thing going on, unless you're the CW. But let's be real, they were only using her as Superman anyway. So
much like they use Green Arrow as Batman, like you take what you can get. Yeah. Final thoughts on season 2 of Peacemaker, Rach. Did you enjoy it? What were your high points? Any low points? Your thoughts?
I enjoyed it more than I expected to, honestly. When you first threw out the idea of watching it, I was kind of like, I mean, I guess. But I enjoyed it. I didn't tell you that, obviously. I wasn't sure what to expect, because I feel like it didn't like super jam with the Suicide Squad movie. I was like, okay, that like had its good points. I wasn't like super fond of Peacemaker as a character, but I feel like they did a lot to really develop his character this season and kind of like, make him more than just like the caricature of like the big strong guy. And I really appreciated that. So I enjoyed it. I think we got to see a lot of character up for him and for the other characters as well. I think it was a quality season, and it gives me more confidence in James Gunn, and that he actually has an idea and a plan for where he's going with this universe, which is always a good thing.
Yes, I think it does give me more faith for Gunn's tenure here, kind of running things. I do feel like eventually he's going to need lieutenants, because even as we've seen with Marvel, like as hot as Marvel was for over a decade, Feige can't do it all by himself. And so I'd love to see who James Gunn's Ryan Coogler or Russo brothers is going to be in terms of the movies going forward. But I really enjoyed. I think I liked season 2 maybe more than season 1. I think the Earth X of it all was interesting. The mental health kind of through line was refreshing.
Yes.
Michael Rooker, you can't ever get enough Michael Rooker.
No, never.
Like obviously there's going to be some James Gunn stuff that's always in James Gunn's work. Like I think he relies heavily on like sophomore kind of humor and violence and stuff. And your mileage varies on how you feel about that. But I thought the moments that needed to hit really hit, especially the emotional stuff with Chris and with Harcourt and with ads. I like the idea of checkmate. And even with all the negative stuff I've said about how Rick Flag just went from 0 to 100 too quickly, I think I like Frank Grillo in that role, and I think he brings some gravitas. And it's like you hate him, but there's also something that can be redeemed in Rick Flag Sr. And so how we get there is going to be interesting.
I agree. I think he's a very conflicted character, and like that's clear from the beginning that like, he's doing this, but kind of in his thoughts of being like, well, I shouldn't focus on the revenge thing. And then it kind of takes things over, but you can like see that he's still like trying to be this, this good lawman, but it's like actually, taking him over. So I think his portrayal has been really good. I wish we got to, see a little bit more of the buildup and stuff, but I've really enjoyed his portrayal.
All we needed was one coke scene, James Gunn.
Before. Right.
Just let me know he's on the narcotics.
Just pull a coke,
But yes, overall, Peacemaker season 2. Like if you like the first season, I think you'll really enjoy the second season. The damn Foxy Shazam song is an earworm. And then John Cena. Like I don't think John Cena is the greatest actor in the world, Rachel, but I think you can tell when an actor finds a role that works for them, and he's bought in to Peacemaker, and like he's given Chris Smith dimensions that I think another strong, muscly dude may not been able to. Like there's a vulnerability with Peacemaker that I think is really the core of the character more so than like the action stuff.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of interesting actors out there at varying levels of talent, but I feel like John Cena's done a really good job with this character. He's really, he feels very lived in. That John Cena feels like he's living out experiences, and he can relate to him on the deep levels. And those scenes, they feel real. They don't feel forced or anything like that. So, I've enjoyed his portrayal a lot. I feel like he's grown a lot as a character.
Somebody else who's grown a lot, Rachel.
Do I?
I think we all do, because his name is Ray Williams. Ray Williams, get out here, sir. Ray is like, you just can't summon me. I'm not Eagly. You'll get that reference in 3 years when you watch Peacemaker, Ray.
You will.
Give me some grace, maybe a year and a half.
We'll give you some grace, Ray. But I was telling Rachel before we went on today, we actually have some feedback, some questions from the audience. Do you have those questions, Ray?
Yeah, just a moment. I'm trying to switch some things around and give you your rightful place back.
Okay.
On the screen.
Yeah, I see you try to usurp me.
Never.
Out there doing that yayo with Rick Flag Sr., sir.
Only if
we are instituting drug tests here in Nefarious.
Only if you keep promoting Dak as the MVP.
Anybody could be an MVP, Ray. We're all most valuable people, Ray.
Yeah, sure. That's what my mama tells me all the time. You're so handsome.
The most valuable producer.
You're valuable in everything, baby. All right. I'll just pull it up from my phone, and then when I get a chance, I'll pull it up on the screen as well.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So here we go. All right. So this comes from the illustrious and infamous hater from Chicago, Jermaine, aka DC Jermaine.
Rachel is not aware of the villain that resides in her city.
I'm not.
So just for a little background, Rachel, this gentleman, Jermaine Jones, he's a friend of the program, but he is very anti-Marvel and very pro DC. So
I see.
anytime we talk Marvel, he always sends feedback. Like when we did the show about Fantastic Four, like, okay, Fantastic Four was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as Superman. When y'all gonna talk more about Superman? And it's like we gonna get there, Jermaine. But I'm sure Jermaine has some completely unbiased questions for us.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes. All right. He says, number one, now that the first year of the DCU has been finished, how would you rate the three properties? Does it instill faith in James Gunn? And
Okay.
number two.
Okay, let's pause on that.
Tackle number one first.
Let's tackle one first. So the three properties would be Superman, Rach, Peacemaker season 2, and then Creature Commandos. And full disclosure, I've only seen a few episodes of Creature Commandos, but I did see all of Peacemaker, obviously, and Superman. So out of those three, how do you feel about the kind of the first year fully under the James Gunn tenure and leadership here at DC?
Admittedly, I have not watched Creature Commanders. I'm not entirely sure what it is, to be completely honest with you. But I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling positive about his first year. I honestly, initially, when they were like, "Oh, James Gunn is going to do the DC," I was like, "Oh, okay." I wasn't totally sold on the idea. I was
Okay.
like, okay, well, I think he does a cool thing with Marvel, but I don't know if it's going to translate over really well. But Superman and to a similar extent, Peacemaker really sold me. We talked about it in the Superman episode, but I feel like that movie understood Superman in a way that properties dating anything since Smallville basically did not. And I feel like that was a really big issue with the Snyderverse and that era of films. It was just like they fundamentally just did not understand the character. So I feel like if you get Superman right, that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the universe.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Peacemaker as it kind of, it definitely gave me some Marvel vibes as like the TV show, but it's like a TV show that's still very funny, but also, connected to the movies. Done that whole thing, but also with a distinct DC flair. So I'm saying pretty good overall. I would rate Superman first just because I love Superman. And Peacemaker after that. I'll refrain from speaking on Creature Commandos. Admitted I know nothing about it. So that's my rankings.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you, Rach. I think I'd probably give James Gunn a B, maybe even a B+ for his first year. I think, or his first full year.
Yes.
But I think there is some of that Marvel-y charm, quote unquote, in his properties. But you also got to say, like, a lot of that Marvel-y charm from Guardians and whatnot was also James Gunn. And so it's like you can't divorce somebody's sentimentalities from the work that they do. And so, like this DC universe is going to be a little more heartfelt, going to be a little more funny, going to be a little bit more lighthearted at times than the universe that we just had previously, where there were some good films that came out of that, Rach. But for the most part, there was kind of this overbearing sense of just kind of weariness in the world that we were living in with those characters. Whereas this world is brighter and more hopeful, even though there's a lot of terrible things being done in this world, from Lex Luthor and Rick Flag Sr. and all these people in these despots overseas in these countries that are terrorizing their citizens. But you're right. If you don't get Superman right, then none of this works. And I think he nailed Superman. Peacemaker is a solid kind of mid-tier level property that you can spring other things off of. I'm excited to see what he does with Supergirl. So yeah, I'd say overall, James Gunn has done a great job, or a good job, with the DC universe so far.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a very measured and well thought out take.
All right, what does the hater have to say next, Bray?
All right. And then please excuse the disembodied voice.
Are
this
you
is a
on
bit
Earth
we got
X-ray?
going.
I hope not.
I was gonna say you better run.
Me
Stop
too.
producing, Ray. Run.
I didn't see the movie, but I didn't see the show, but I saw clips of
Ray is like, why are all
girl
these
running
people
with
so
white
happy to
people
see
shit.
me?
Yeah,
Everybody's coming out to
I
see
can't
me.
do that. I don't
One
know.
of them got out.
I feel like I'm in Get Out. All right. So in number 2, so question number 2, with the 3 projects announced next year, what are you two looking forward to the most? And I also have like a follow-up unrelated to Jermaine, but related to this topic. But
Okay.
which projects are you looking forward to the most that are announced next year?
All right. And what are the projects? I'm assuming, Ray, and you can fact check me on this, but we've got Lanterns, which is going to be a TV series. We've got Supergirl. Is Supergirl next year?
I'm not sure. Let me go ahead and look that up.
I think we got Lanterns, Supergirl, and I don't know what the third thing he is speaking on is, but yeah, if you can double check, like DC Studios upcoming slate. And did somebody join us, Ray? I heard the doorbell.
Let me see.
It does say 4 people.
Oh, yes. It looks like we do have a third.
Is it James Gunn?
I wish he's on the list along with Diana Taurasi. But we do have someone by the name of Andy Mangione.
Oh,
I don't know an Andy Mangione.
We'll see if they're related
Earth
to
X
Luigi.
Andy Bebecht.
We're about to find out.
Uh-oh. Who's gonna step through the portal?
Wait, am I on? I can't see myself.
We hear you.
All right. Yep.
Where is
hear you,
Andy?
but we don't have your camera. Only one disembodied voice can be on here, brother. No.
Yeah, I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. Hold on. I only just now saw Nate's DM. Hi.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy B has joined us.
I saw the DM and I forgot to respond. And I'm like, I wonder if they're still live. So I just clicked on the stream. Like, I had no idea if this was gonna work or not.
What's going on, Andy? Always good to talk to you, my friend. You actually popped up right when we needed you because we have a question from a listener that we're talking about James Gunn's run so far with DC Studios, and he was saying, what are our thoughts on the properties announced for next year? Do you know what's supposed to be coming up next year?
So next year we have they haven't announced a date yet, but Lanterns will be rolling out early 2026. I know that HBO has that new Game of Thrones show in January, so I would assume, if anything, Lanterns will be Mars, and then it will lead us right into Supergirl on June 26, 2026. And then the project I'm most I think the film I'm most excited for next year is Clayface on September 11th. Believe it or not, folks.
Wow.
2026.
They might have to change that date.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
I don't love that.
Yeah, not great, James.
I'm like, wait, hold on. We want to like a horror movie on that date.
Wait one day, James. Wait one more day.
Yeah. Honestly, I would put it in October, but but here's the thing: Warner Bros. Has been doing so well with horror this year that I'm like, you know what? Like, if they think September 11th is a good date, then let's just put it in there. It's like I felt like I was like, because I remember like when I wrote the breaking news, I'm like, okay, what date is it? September? Really? Like this is what we're doing? Okay.
I think that's a festive movie going day.
But yeah, we have that, and then supposedly, this part has not been confirmed yet, but like, Creature Commander season 2 could be coming next year, hopefully. So, that's it for 2020. But still a lot of good stuff.
So, out of those options, Rach, I think in order, I would probably go Lanterns first, just because I'm a big Jon Stewart stan. And I'm interested to see like what that show can be. Supergirl probably next because I did love her appearance in Superman.
So the girl gets the second. She gets a second. Okay,
She gets
I see.
second. Well, technically there's a girl in Lanterns, isn't there, Andy?
You mean Jon Stewart's mom?
Mothers are important too, sir. Without mothers, we wouldn't be here. That's a scientific fact. And then what was the third show? You said Creature Commando season 2 or season?
No. Season 2. Yeah,
Clayface. So yeah, Clayface is interesting. Like I'm not really a big horror fan, but I do think that could be an interesting story. And isn't Clayface the one that sent Rick Flag Sr. on this path to being a coked up villain?
No,
Andy?
it seems like James Gunn has been very cryptic about it, but it seems like this is probably like so. In the movie, we're gonna follow Matt Hagen. We all grew up with him on Batman Animated series.
Yeah.
But I think the other one that we saw on Creature Command is probably like one of the many Clayfaces.
Okay.
Because they're trying. It seems like based on James's tweet yesterday that they're portraying Clayface as like a misunderstood villain, and so it would be kind of rough to go in that direction when he pretty much like killed some feminist professor and then takes her form and Rachel, so many things happen in that show, but I think you would actually like the show, Rachel.
I just acknowledged that I had no idea what it was. So
she looked so horrified. So but yeah, but we know in the comics there's been multiple Clayfaces, so but yeah.
Okay.
Anything on that list stand out to you, Rach?
I'm gonna have to go with Supergirl first, for sure. My girl. I look forward to where they weigh in on the Kara debate. This just always amused me personally, how people pronounce the name differently. But I do think I think it'll be interesting to get into like her comics personality, which is again different than her CW Supergirl personality. No hate to Melissa Benoist, I love her.
We can love them all. We
do. I look forward to try to getting into her as a character, more so than just like a super. Okay. Full disclosure. My introduction to Green Lantern was the Smallville season 11 comic series where they were doing that like one arc about Green Lantern, and I was like, wow, I have no idea what this is. But I've since gotten bits and pieces from various shows, Justice League and all that good stuff. And I know Guy Gardner's a dick, and Jon Stewart is less of a dick. And they have weapons and green things with rings. Yeah. So probably look into that as number 2. Number 3, I gotta say, I'm not a horror person. I don't go watch horror movies. It's just not something I'm interested in. Though when you keep saying Clayface, Andy, I keep getting to mind the version from Harley Quinn, the animated series.
Yeah.
The horror movie, and I'm just like, that's...
Yeah, that's not going to be it at all. But although ironically, Alan Tudyk ended up voicing Clayface on Creature Commandos. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So everyone thought he was going to be like the voice of Clayface in the movie, but they've now cast this other actor, Tom Rhys Harris, who I've never seen him in anything, but like the said photos, like Listen, I might be more excited for Clayface than I am like Spider-Man and Supergirl, like, because I love horror. I mean, listen, like, I mean, y'all are saying like, I don't like horror. You all live in America, like, you live in horror every day, so you should be used to it by now.
Which is why I don't need to see it in the movies, Andy.
All right, just look out.
Look out the window.
Exactly. But it's like, but you all should be used to it by now. So like, I'm a
desensitized.
Exactly. I'm a brown gay man. Like it's horrific out there for us too. So like I'm just like, listen. Us gays, we bring the ticket. We bring the box office to the horror genre, in my opinion. So
it's gonna be interesting though, Andy, because I think horror has been really successful because part of the box office formula is you can make these horror movies for a lower cost, and the box office profit is higher. If you're going to do a superhero horror movie, though, you got to have some CGI in here, Andy B.
Well, that's only Clayface. Like, it's only, and like from what's been reported, the budget is like 40 million.
Okay.
So, and like it's also not a lot of. I think Naomi Aki is like the most prominent actor in that
Okay.
cast. Sorry, Rachel, what was your question?
No, I said that's a good budget. I'd take it.
Yeah. 40 million. Like that's not that like because all you really need to do is just his shape shifting effects, and then and other like this could also be fun to see like what other actors now gets to act.
It's just gonna be like the Michael Jackson black and white video with Clayface just turning around. It's an old reference.
I know. I've seen it, but like I like to live in 2025. So but yeah, but you look at something like Sinners and Weapons, stuff like that. Like these films, like it also highlights one of my favorite aspects of Hollywood magic, which is practical effects, practical sets. Which like because listen, like we've been like Hollywood is like trying to move away from it so much as possible. Like they're trying to tap into AI. Like even I don't remember what these cameras are called, but like I remember when The Mandalorian was being made, season 1 on Disney Plus. They mentioned like these like special location cameras or something, and I'm kind of like, are y'all that bored? Like, are you like is this like this is not fun to know as like someone like again? I mean, I haven't watched Mandalorian, but when I heard it, I'm kind of like, but you're taking away the magic that George Lucas put into it by going for as much practicality as possible. So like with Clayface, we get that, and I'm so for again, like, did anyone ever think like, oh, we need a Clayface movie? Like, no, but like, do we need any movies in general? Like, but the sell for me was, oh, Mike Flanagan wrote this? Okay, well, I'm good. I will watch it.
Okay.
I won't, but I'm sure.
I might, so I'll split the difference.
Fair enough.
But something you did watch, Andy, before we move on to our feature topic of the week, was Peacemaker season 2. Rachel and I just got through talking about our thoughts about season 2. For the most part, we both really enjoyed it. We did have some minor nitpicks, namely, like I wish we would have stayed on Earth X for a little bit longer. But then also my other nitpick was I felt like we got the Rick Flag Sr. like descent into supervillainy a little too quickly. Like you out here doing blow and all this, my man. What did you think of Peacemaker season 2, Andy?
Okay.
I'm still stuck on that, Rachel. Like you're a whole government agent, Rick Flag Sr. Where did you get the coke from? From Vigilante's basement?
Well, listen. Y'all, so I've been covering Peacemaker season 2 with our good friend Vanessa, Jedi Mike, and a new member of the family, Kyle Naranja, who's he does a show called Film Wheelers. He's awesome. He's great. And we felt that that the season wasn't really needed, but like because again, it feels like that for all the good things we did get, there's also so much that. Like for every step they took forward, they took 3 steps backward. Like again, like listen, like I shouldn't live in a world where I'm like rooting for Tim Meadows' character to get killed off. Like I love Tim Meadows, but every time this man and his bird blindness spoke, I'm like, stop.
He said it was a duck.
Like
you wasn't good with Flory.
No, like I hated him so much. Like, it took me until the 8th episode to remember what his name was. Like we kept saying like Tim Meadows character, and I'm like, I love this dude. He is such a great actor.
Yes,
but he like.
I'm sorry. He's just forever the high school principal for Mean Girls. For
Mean Girls.
That's all I get.
But yeah, like I think that like for the principal characters like Christopher, Amelia, Economist, who's my dude, like I will, and like Daniel, I mean Leota, like who we felt she was so underserved this season, and like James had no excuse because we checked to see like was this season being filmed while Minecraft was being made, which she was done, so she, like again, like there was no reason, and also, and I think Vanessa puts this way more eloquent than I could, but like the whole Earth X thing, like the way that James Gunn depicts racism and like like again, like it's like again like or this alternate world where the Nazis won, like we could have taken it further, like because it's like like what was it Vanessa said? She said something like, well, like there was a scene, for example, where like Leota is like cleaning up a mess at the white supremacist house, and like that's supposed to somehow be prerogative in James Gunn's mind. Again, this is what happens like when you have a show that only has one writer in the writers' room. So like he kept saying oh I spoke to Daniel Brooks, making sure he was comfortable, whatever, and so on. But again, I was intrigued enough by the point. But again, it was also so obvious because like we got to the third episode, fourth episode, or fifth episode or something, and like I remember when we were talking about it on Peacemaker podcast, I was kind of like, there's not a lot of people of color here. Because I was getting like like if I go into a place and it's just white people, I'm just like, this is, no offense Rachel, but like it will terrify me.
I won't be offended on behalf of all white people, don't worry.
It's just it was just it's just it was uncomfortable. Then we guessed it and we knew it. There's a lot of, I think the finale gives us a lot of great setup, obviously with Salvation, which they're doing some take on the comics. Listen, I love Frank Grillo, but yeah, even I was kind of like, my man, like how did we, like I get that men can be stupid, but like this is a character we're supposed to be like, he, like,
so that was going to be my question, Andy, because like I watched a few episodes of Creature Commandos. I saw Rick Flag Sr. in Superman, and I've watched him this whole season. And I'm like, is there something that I missed? Because obviously he hates Christopher Smith. Obviously he's feeling trauma from losing his son, but it felt like the change we got at the end of season 2 of Peacemaker happened way too fast. Like you're in cahoots with Lex Luthor, you're doing coke, you're not even phased by all of your agents are dying when you're sending them through these portals. It's like it felt like it happened too quick for me.
It happened way too quick because this is why, like, because in Creature Commandos, season 1, we see that he had. Because I really want Rachel to watch it, and I don't want to spoil it because I actually feel okay. You know what? It's Legends with Monsters.
I have now looked it up.
You sold her now.
yeah. Because I was kind of thinking like, how can I picture it as? And I'm just kind of like, wait a minute,
Rachel's all
Legends. Except that there is no Sarah Lance, but I think you will like.
I mean, my brain was already on Legends because Salvation is also the name of the town where Jonah Hex is the sheriff in season 1. Just saying.
Season that none of us dare to speak of.
I am a season 1 fan. Okay, I was there.
Pull one out for Vandal Savage.
Listen, I was there. Listen. Like Casper's a buddy, so like I feel bad for the material that he got. Like I love Vandal Savage. I love Casper. So like even I was kind of like, oh man, they did you dirty. But in Creature Commandos, like basically we see him working with these monsters that are metahumans, so, and like he has an understanding and care for them. And then in Superman, we see that like his mind starts to shift a little bit. But my dude, you haven't dealt with a metahuman all of season 2 of Peacemaker. Where's this metahuman phobia coming from suddenly? Where it's like there needed to be something between Peacemaker and then whatever this conclusion is that he's reached to. Again, like Rick Flag is obvious. I think he's obviously like letting grief run a lot through him, but I'm just like, dude, like, because we know like Frank Grillo is going to be around for a while. Like, I want him to get the best stuff to work with because again, Rick Flag Sr. is very much going to be like the wicked Phil Coulson for the DCU. So like, it was very quick, and I'm hoping that but the thing is like I don't think like this is. I think this can be fixed because this can still be fleshed out. It depends on where we see them next and what they do. Because because there's something like when you're grieving, like you will do stupid stuff, and like you will, my proposal that I said in the finale was that I wish that because we had Joel Kinnaman come back, and it would have been really cool if that Rick Flag Jr. was also like not a Nazi on his Earth, but he gets brought over to the Earth DCU, and Christopher explains to Senior like, listen, I can curse on this show, right?
Yes.
I fucked up. I can't bring your son back, but maybe I can give you a second chance with this man who also lost you on his Earth. It would have added a more layer to Senior, then suddenly being like, I'm gonna use my government corruption. I'm using my government power to use it for corruption and send him to this other dimension that is, again, like he literally pitches as for metahumans, but Christopher,
Right.
I mean, he's John Cena because look at him, but ain't no power. So it came out of nowhere, and again, it was also so bad that we live in a streaming era where, like, okay, we're on HBO, whatever. We should be able to have full 1 hour episodes. No, like none of these like 42 bullshit that we did on the CW. But yet it's like every week, it's like, what do you mean 35 minutes?
And that's what I was just saying to Rach, Andy, not just in the runtime, but nobody said you had to do only 8 episodes. Like you could have done 9 episodes, you could have done 10, 11, however many you needed to fully tell the story.
Episode order, I can understand because it seems like 8 is now the number HBO likes to go with. So I think maybe they're trying to be a little consistent. But you could have made each episode at least an hour where we can flesh out all these things, because it was like every time they had any stupid jokes in this season, it was just like the only good thing that works for the season is the principal characters whenever they had good dramatic stuff. Like when they confront him at the motel.
Yeah.
And Daniel Brooks, like, listen, I think I said it's on where I said it somewhere, but I know, like, when a person of color pulls up on you with a chair, it's about to get serious. Like it's about to get serious, and Daniel Brooks, you just crying, like I saw an eagle hug a human, and I'm like, I can't like this. I'm like, this is why Academy Award nominee Daniel Brooks or James Gunn, like, and I was happy that she gets to be the one to quick checkmate in this universe.
Yes.
That was a theory I had early this season, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm intrigued for checkmate, man. Like James Gunn has said, Andy B, and you can take it for whatever you want, that there won't be a new season of Peacemaker anytime soon, if ever. But I think like a checkmate series could be interesting.
Yeah, I think that because there's been we were talking about this because we know that the glorious, the amazing Viola Davis is still supposed to have her own Amanda Waller show. Now the thing is, like, Mrs. Davis is a very busy woman, and she has, and like this show is taking longer than expected. I would say replace Waller with checkmate and make Leota and Amanda co-leads. We can heal the daughter-mother relationship, and like we can, because they've made Amanda so like listen, we know that Amanda isn't just one or the other. Like she's supposed to be through like all these lenses, but so far, like they made it like like she the evil pearl, she evil, like she is so evil, and I'm like, we need to see the other layers of Amanda Waller that we've seen on Justice League Unlimited. We've seen on so many other comics, like and it's and because I don't want to get to the point where like Viola's just like, you know what, I'm not feeling this anymore, I'm out.
Yeah. Ray Williams, speaking of feeling things, did you have one more question for us before we pivoted topics?
Indeed. So, in the nature of the questions that infamous hater Jermaine has asked, when we're looking back at the start of this newly christened DCU, and we're looking at the future, we also have to consider that there's a possibility that Warner Brothers will be sold again. And I believe James Gunn has made some intimations that if it is indeed sold, that he may not stick around. So do you think that the DCU may end as quickly as it began, or do you think that he sees this through regardless of who owns WB afterwards?
I think I know which quote this is referring to. It's I think it was something about plot points reaching beyond Man of Tomorrow, but I think he said something like, whether or not I will be the one to finish it or not remains to be seen. I mean, if the DCU is profitable, whoever owns Warner, they're not going to just want him to just leave. I like the DCU will obviously continue, and I think whoever buys them will do everything they can to keep him. But again, I mean, I don't know why he would leave, because listen, politics aside, I'm sure he would still do whatever he's doing with DC Studios. But I don't know, it depends on who buys them.
I think
people say Apple, some say Netflix, so on.
well, because you said politics aside, and that kind of sparked something into my brain, Andy. And I don't think it would happen, but we live in a world where I never thought EA Sports would be bought by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Electronic Arts is now owned by the Saudis. You know what I'm saying? And so there is a world where there is a world where they could buy Warner Brothers, they could buy DC, and it's like if you're talking about politics, we know what James Gunn's politics are through his work, and I think that may be the only thing that would get him to like not want to continue forward with this relationship. But then the other thing that Rach mentioned earlier is, and we've all got the trauma. We're all Rick Flag Sr. with this one, Andy. The notoriously, famously steady management of Time Warner when it comes to these things. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong, right, Rach?
No, never. They've never give up on things halfway through because they didn't get immediate success. Ask my good friend Brandon Routh.
Well,
and Andy, you saw the trauma in Andy's eyes as he's reliving the past 20 years.
Because there's multiple situations. Because Legends, that's why I feel more. Superman Returns, I'm like, I mean, it was a shitty movie, so I'm sorry, Brandon. But
it was a shitty script. He was good. The script was
it was a shitty script. It had a shitty director. It had a shitty cast. Brandon was the only thing watchable for me.
Hey, Andy B. Watch your mouth when you talk about the wonderful Parker Posey. She is a national treasure, and she was in that movie for 2 seconds.
As who?
Wasn't Parker Posey Miss Tessmacher in that movie for like 2 seconds?
I watched the movie once.
Ray, pull up the cast for Superman Returns and verify this.
I feel like I must have watched that movie at some point in the last couple
Parker
years.
Posey was in it for like 2 minutes. I was like, oh, Parker's here. Cool.
I remember watching it in 2007 really clearly.
Is Parker Posey a part of that cast, Ray? Or was Parker Posey part of that cast? Is the operative question. Ray is efforting.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. She played the role as Kitty Kowalski.
Kitty Kowalski, yes. The memorable Kitty Kowalski that we all remember to this day, Ray. I think she was like the Miss Tessmacher stand-in for that film with terrible Kevin Spacey, Lex Luthor.
I was going to say, is that like Cat Grant Jr.? Kitty Kowalski?
Kitty Kowalski. Yeah, shout out to Parker Posey for being in that movie that nobody remembers, unfortunately.
Good Lord.
But yes, you're fine,
Time Warner. That was a mess. I mean, again, like I said, it depends on who buys them. But I don't see James leaving anytime soon. I'm sure he likes to also have. I think he likes having a job. And again, it's if it's someone like Apple gets them, why would James just walk away?
Right. Free iPhones.
Some Macs. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know how they, Ted Lasso could cross over to DCU finally or something like that.
It is, and I made the point about the Saudi thing, Andy, but it's not even that far-fetched that an American company, because we've seen it with Disney and CBS kind of bowing to certain regimes that are in power in America, like an American company that buys DC or buys Warner Brothers, bowing to whoever is currently in the office, and that could be something that ruffles the feathers.
But that's also if this sale is even if this, because this has to get approved, and there's already a lot of opposing for it. I mean, I know that it's either SAG or the WGA. They're planning to fight as much as possible because more studios merging into one. That's just gonna, just today I read that Paramount is getting ready to lay off 1,000 people.
Wow.
So I'm just saying.
So the answer to the question is we'll see, Ray. We don't know. But the only thing I do know, Rachel, is we are in a better place than we could have been if the man that was supposed to run DC had his way. And unfortunately, I hate saying it because I'm a fan of his, Andy. But remember, like when The Rock was supposed to be the one that changed everything?
So like I like Black Adam. I did like Black Adam. But I don't know if I wanted him necessarily to run DC. I think he could have been a good like creative force within DC, but like I like the structure of having like a James Gunn and a Peter Safran, someone who's creative, someone who works on the business side. So yeah.
And I was telling Rachel earlier, the one thing I hope for James Gunn is because we talked about it with Marvel, like Feige can't do everything. Like he had to find his Russo brothers, he had to find his Ryan Coogler. Like I hope James Gunn can find one or two directors that he really likes and believes in their vision for these characters and works with those folks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a point where like I think even Kevin Feige needs to maybe consider stepping down, or like, I think. I mean, listen, like at some point, like he's gonna have to retire, and I rather him go out while he's still strong, and we know the multiverse saga has definitely not been that strong. So the cat does not agree.
The cat's like, I love Dr. Multiverse.
That was the cat and the 110-pound dog. So
wow, both of them disagree with you, Andy.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. But I mean, now I know that with Marvel, like they have Brandon Winterbaum running Marvel Television, for example, whatever. But like, I feel these last couple of years of Marvel, they've just been doing damage control. No pun intended. Because damage control is part of Marvel.
Starring Time Daily.
Time Daily. So yeah, I don't know. I like what these studios has, and I'm hopeful whoever buys them will. I mean, again, I just don't see James leaving, and I just don't see them getting rid of James when he's the one right now, like fixing DC's media image. Again, not everything is perfect. I mean, Peacemaker season 2 is a great example of that. But when you see how Superman has worked,
you know what the numbers were for season 2?
No, because I mean, the problem is because these streaming services, they don't really give out numbers. So like it's through these like other third parties that we had to look up and so on. But like it definitely seems like Peacemaker season 2 took a bit of a dip. But I mean, I know also like being gone for 3 years probably didn't help either.
Yeah. But hey, we got Foxy Shazam as part of the DC universe, Andy. We won.
There you go. But like I always asked for.
But you know what Rachel asked for, and it's Rachel's show. So if Rachel asked for something, it's probably going to happen. Rachel wanted to spend the rest of this episode talking about a particular character. Last episode, we spotlit Justin Hartley and the Green Arrow and its importance to superhero medium going forward. But who are we going to talk about this episode, Rach?
We are going to talk about the other DC character I'm super obsessed with all the time, Wonder Woman. So.
Oh. Theme song.
I can't delay lyrics. I just forgot it was.
The trumpet player killed it on this one.
So I aim for this to be like roughly half research and roughly half me ranting about my opinions. But like worked pretty well last time.
That's one of the greatest theme songs in TV history. I'll say it, Rachel.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. So, Wonder Woman, one of the greats, was created in the 1940s by this guy named William Moulton Marston, who apparently also invented the polygraph. Interesting. And I found this one quote from Wikipedia because, really, really good, that he was an outspoken feminist, polyamorous, and a firm believer in the superiority of woman. So okay. I appreciate that. Number one. And he kind of created this I wouldn't describe her as like a female Superman, but she has the, a similar range of powers of super strength and, well, I mean, she has an invisible jet, so I guess she can't fly herself, but it varies,
That never made sense. We'll get to it, Rach, but that never made sense.
But she was obviously a comic character over years. Had a lot of interesting storylines going through. And there was a original TV pilot made in 1967. A 5-minute test of it was made in Who's Afraid of Diana Prince. And it did not go over well, and the footage was ridiculous, so that show did not happen. Very sad. But she continued to be a comics person and everything that was going on until basically the big break, considering media, was, as everyone knows, Linda Carter as the Wonder Woman TV show. I tend to associate it with like the Batman show from back in the day that I used to watch on TV Land with like Adam West and everything, because it's that like kind of kitschy superhero content that's very entertaining to watch, but not always very serious. But their whole thing was, she was one of the Amazons and was coming to the world and encountering it. And she had various costumes that were sometimes somewhat revealing, interesting, different versions. So I watched a couple episodes of the Linda Carter show, and I find it very amusing, to say the least. I do think it's very very kind of like slapstick and not necessarily to be taken seriously, but that feels like the real roots of like when people mostly like got familiar with the character and that kind of thing. So I can appreciate that. I feel like her next like really iconic portrayal that a lot of people saw was in the Justice League cartoons. When I say Justice League, I mean broadly, like there was like Justice League Unlimited. I think she made a few appearances in Superman the animated series. I don't think she made any Batman the animated series, but that's also just a great show. I enjoyed the animated version of her. I think those shows overall are just like really fun and cute. They get very very classic version of the characters. I feel like they're just very not like predictable, but they feel like it feels like they always kind of focus the characters very clearly on like their main deals. She was also in Young Justice, which Young Justice is a great show. I love that. And then of course we come to Snyderverse and the 2017 movie starring Gal Gadot.
Kal-El, no.
Kal-El, no.
Last time, but I love this movie. I dearly love this movie.
Yeah, I do.
The first one, yes.
Yeah,
It's the first. We're not going to get into the second one. All I'll say is there's one point in the second one where she's looking at her like colleague person who's now turned into like a half cat person. She's like, "Oh, Barbara," and that's how I feel about the whole movie. Oh, Barbara.
I forgot Cheetah was in that movie.
I forgot Kristen Wiig was in that movie.
Yes, Kristen Wiig was Cheetah. Wow, that was a time.
Pedro Pascal.
So bad, just so bad, so bad. Anyway, I do think Gal Gadot's acting worked for the first movie because she was like entirely out of her element and being like, I've never seen this world before. So it's really just
method acting.
Perfect use of Gal Gadot's very interesting acting skills. But I enjoyed the movie for a lot of different reasons. her origin story was originally set for World War II. And in the movie, they decided to set it back to World War I instead. And I remember reading that one of the reasons they did this was because they wanted to make it slightly more morally ambiguous. Whereas with World War II, it's pretty clear who the bad guys are. I feel like I can say that. Whereas with World War I, it's not quite as clear. There's still, okay, Germany's doing some bad things going on, and there's, some not great stuff, but it's not quite like, oh, these are the evil Nazis and we have to defeat them. And I appreciated that because I thought it was interesting to bring her into a situation where it was, it's not as much, okay, this is the good side, this is the bad side, and I'm going to go on the good side. She more had to like see the fighting for herself and really like develop into like where she was defining herself. I feel like the No Man's Zone, No Man's Zone,
No Man's
Land. I feel like that scene is really iconic, but also like defining because up to that point in the movie, she'd kind of just like stepped back and just kind of watched. Whereas that's the scene where she's like, oh no, I'm going to do something right now. Like I'm going to step forward and do something with my powers. I've always found it really iconic, and I probably cry every time I watch it, honestly. It's a great scene. And I really enjoyed her character in that movie. And I think it really shows that I think the rest of the movie was also very great. I loved Chris Pine. I think he does an awesome job as Steve Trevor, and just being really her kind of ragtag group of pals that goes going through, and it's just I thought it was really well done in an era where a lot of DC movies were not so well done, to say the least. But I enjoyed her solo movie a lot. I thought her entrance in Justice League and appearances in the other couple movies were not as great. I really wanted to like Justice League, the movie, a lot, and I really wanted to.
And you still can on HBO Max, called Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the one, that's the good one. Zack Snyder's Justice League is awesome. The one that's the director's cut or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can't remember if I actually ever watched it or not, but maybe I might do that at some point.
It's a completely different movie. It's not the same movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch that at some point. But yeah, she was the one thing from that universe I really liked. So now we're kind of at a point where, we're seeing if she's going to enter this new universe that we've set up over the last year. And I've been pretty open about it. I really liked Superman in this universe. So I'm kind of waiting to see what they're going to do with Wonder Woman. Has she been cast? Yes, no.
She has not been cast. There's a Wonder Woman movie in development by the writer who wrote Supergirl. So and they're fast tracking Wonder Woman apparently. So
okay, because I've seen some suggested castings that I thought were
well, of course, everyone is on Twitter is always gonna run their mouths and be like, "This woman should be Wonder Woman." Like, it's like if you're just like tall and have dark hair, then like you're it.
Yes, I do think at this point in her story run, I do think it'd be interesting if she was a woman of color. So I would personally like to see that choice. I think it would reflect truer to her identity at this point, as kind of like an outsider, but someone that's fighting for truth and justice. I won't say in the American way because that's
I have a casting suggestion that I think would be incredibly well if you're looking for a woman of color. I think the one and only Melissa Barrera should play Wonder Woman.
Okay.
The name sounds familiar.
She was from Scream, and she was the one who got fired for standing up for Palestine.
Oh, oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah, no, she looks like she'd be a great one.
I love the thought behind it, Rachel, and that's why we love having you on this network. And welcome, Chris, to the episode.
Yes, hi.
Go ahead.
But ain't no way they gonna do that. Unfortunately, because this is the climate that we live in, they're like, this movie already is gonna be divisive because it's a female-led superhero movie. We can't double down on divisiveness.
Next week, talking about my second favorite movie, Captain Marvel. No, I'm kidding.
Well, there were people complaining about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman because of the accent and stuff. I remember it vividly.
Professor, no.
I like the accent because it made also that, because it was cool seeing all the other Amazons like all the actors.
It made sense because it's like if you're not from the United States of America, then why are you talking like an American?
Exactly. But again, I mean, like because I also very much despite who Gal Gadot is, I do really love that first movie. That was also like the first time I even because I traveled to London for an edit bay visit where me and several journalists were talking with the one and only Patty Jenkins, and she was so kind. We actually got to watch when she mentioned the No Man's Land scene. We got to watch it with like the score they had put in there, like temporary, which was kind of like this other epic film score, and like you get like I had to be like, don't cry. You're a professional. You're sitting for the critics. Don't cry. It was so cool. And then hearing her talking about the movie and whatnot. So
I'm so jealous.
again, no, but and like I was like sitting like the second, like I was like sitting opposite her because she was like on this little stage, and like I was like sitting opposite her while the others were like sitting on the other side, like because I remember because they were running out of time, but she saw that I was like trying to really get at a question, and she was like, hold on. You had one, right? I'm like, so she let me finish, saying, and so, I love the first Wonder Woman movie. Like, again, it works because, again, they, I think that one movie is like, they work around what doesn't work with Gal Gadot, and they work with what works with Gal Gadot, which is very little. And then, and now, like, she's become like the biggest joke in Hollywood, which she deserves. But I definitely think that
enough jokes to feel denial.
Do you know how many times I've seen people like reenacting all her bad lines? There's this amazing guy on TikTok, Matt, who like he is. Like, Gal Gadot auditions for this role, like Wicked, Titanic, Harry Potter, whatever. It is so funny, and like when she's always like writing notes, and like first of all, because I'm like I don't even know if Gal Gadot can write, so who knows? But like it is so funny. But what I'm excited for James Gunn's Wonder Woman is that they're actually gonna cast an actor for Wonder Woman this time.
We can actually act. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd really enjoy that personally.
So it's funny because Wonder Woman is actually my mom's favorite comic character. Like, so obviously she was into the Linda Carter show back in the day, which like it's very campy now when we look at it with 2025 eyes. But I imagine like her watching that shows like that and Batman 66 and Incredible Hulk when that was out back in the day, that was like groundbreaking for them because you didn't have stuff like that on every week. And so like she really loved that show. Like she enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie. I asked her how she felt about Wonder Woman 84 and she just was like, they tried. And that was her assessment of Wonder Woman 84.
My mom likes the second Wonder Woman better than the first one.
Oh, wow.
I think it's because my mom grew up in the 80s though.
So what? Did they not have taste in the 80s or like
Hey, no, that's my mom, right?
No, my mom was like in her 20s in the 80s, and I'm like, even she would be like, "What is this movie I'm watching?" Like, again, so it's like that's a wild thing. I've never heard anyone say someone prefers 84, 91,
she liked the setting.
2. Yeah, but the thing is, like,
I mean, some people like Predator 2 better than Predator 1,
But it's like, but like 1984 is just there. First of all, like 1984 is just like, okay, like there was no impact other than the fact that it was just set in that year. We barely dealt with the culture. We like it was just like, oh, look at the funky clothes they wore back then.
I wanted a better soundtrack from that movie.
Yeah, I thought the soundtrack.
I wanted a good movie from that movie, but
You weren't into Cheetah?
There's one episode. There's one episode of the Justice League animated show where they do like a Wonder Woman like backstory one, and she's in the 40s with Steve, and then they're at another point in history, and the same little animated character comes on and says, "I'm Steve Trevor's son," blah 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 blah, and they keep going. So when the previews for Wonder Woman 84 came out, and Steve Trevor's there,
Yeah.
are they doing the sun plot?
Yeah. No, I don't know what, like, I don't know if the studio messed with that movie or if it was Patty Jenkins' decisions. But since it's Warner Brothers, I'm gonna go with
always lean towards the studio with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate.
But you mentioned the Justice League Wonder Woman, Rach, and I think that's probably the Wonder Woman that is most identifiable with folks kind of in our age range, because so many of our thoughts about these characters were kind of either formed or reinforced by what Bruce Timm and James Tucker and Dwayne McDuffie and those cats did with those shows back in the day. And I really liked Susan Eisenberg, who was the voice actress, her portrayal of Diana, where it felt like, yes, she's this goddess from this island full of women, but there was also a relatability to her when she's interacting with Clark and Bruce and the rest of the characters. And so, like, I always wanted that kind of version of Wonder Woman to be brought to the screen. It's funny because in my mind, the perfect person that could have played Wonder Woman never got her opportunity because of the era in when she existed. She did get to voice her on one of those directed DVD movies, but I thought Lucy Lawless would have been an amazing Wonder Woman.
Oh, she would have been great.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, there was this girl that was on Days of Our Lives that I thought looked exactly like the comic book depiction of Wonder Woman. I don't know if she had acting chops. The one that plays Chloe. Yes. Bjorklund. I thought she looked like exactly like with the blue eyes and the dark hair.
What's her name, Chris?
Nadia Bjorklund, I believe.
Yeah, I know exactly which one. Yeah,
see if you can look that up, Ray, and we can get a picture.
She played Chloe on Days of Our Lives.
Okay.
But I don't know if she has the acting chops, because soap opera acting is different than like movie acting.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I always wanted, like, the thing I liked about Lucy Lawless, besides the fact that she's just awesome as a person and an actress, but like I feel like a lot of depictions. Okay, yeah, I could see it.
That is very Diana.
Yeah, like you said, Crystal. I don't know if her acting style would translate to the big screen, but I could definitely see it. But
everyone gets to start on soap opera, like Justin Harley did, Jensen Ackles did. Hey, even in Eric Marsoff, who was on Days of Our Lives, he came on for one episode of Smallville and Boost to Gold, and he was epic.
Yeah.
So I was going to say this before I forget it. I think that what we owe to Lucy Lawless is that she should get to play Hippolyta in the Wonder Woman movie.
That'd be great.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. But like the thing I loved about Lucy Lawless is that a lot of Hollywood's vision of who a Wonder Woman should be does not look like Lucy Lawless in terms of the physicality and the frame that she brings to the table. And I've always thought like Wonder Woman in the comics is like stacked, man. Like she's taller than Kal-El. Like she's a physical force to be reckoned with. She's not just some random chick in a bikini with a rope. Like there is a physical presence to Wonder Woman that I don't think Hollywood has ever quite embraced.
Well, I would say like the one cast, even though the product was dog shit, Adrian Palicki's NBC show of when she was going to be Wonder Woman, I'm like, perfect casting, horrible story. David E. Kelly should never go near the comic book genre ever again, because that's the worst pilot I've ever seen.
Ally McBeal was writing a superhero show?
No, Ally McBeal was busy being on Supergirl years later. So
no, David E. Kelly wrote Ally McBeal.
No, I know, but I'm not. For me, I'm just like Adrian Palicki. The thing is, like, she probably could still play Wonder Woman. Like, she's not old. She's like, again, the MCU's not using her for Mockingbird at this point because Kevin Feige doesn't know quality if he sees it in front of him. But I would say if we could, I would say let's give her a proper chance because she's tall, she's she's a badass. Like she when like if you watch Agents of Shield or like any action project she's ever been part of, it's like that's Diana.
Chris, you know who's crazy that I always thought at least physically could have portrayed Wonder Woman, not so much with the acting department. Oh wow, yeah, that's no,
keep going, Rachel, or whoever's like keep showing the whole costume. It gets worse.
It's the pants.
It's the pants.
Can you pan down a little bit, Ray? Oh wow, yeah, that's I don't know about that.
Keep going. Wait till you get to the boots. Look at the originality. Boots. So they had to, in the middle of the pilot production, switch out the pants because everyone was hating the costume so much.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that's not a good look. But
I think for legal reasons, I'm not gonna, with my attorney present here, I'm not gonna encourage people to look up the said pilot. Hypothetically, this said pilot could exist out there.
You could probably find it through nefarious means.
Yeah. Counselor, I will let you take it from
here. I mean, if you happen to pond it, I don't think you'd be committing any illegal conduct by watching it.
I mean, I'm just thinking that we are legally not distributing it, or we're not like
correct. We're not profiting from it.
We're not advocating for people to go and look it up, but
if you were interested, it's out there.
It's out there.
Just like the Aquaman pilots.
Yes, we talked about that last episode. Yep, with Justin Hartley. But Chris and Rach and Andy, had she been not even 100% better as an actress, but I'd say just give me 50% better acting. And had she not turned out to be a terrible person who doesn't like trans people, I thought somebody like Gina Carano, from a physical standpoint, could have been a Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Rachel's not feeling that.
Yeah. She would have been believable, but yeah, she's just too toxic.
I didn't watch The Mandalorian, so I only became aware of her after she got fired.
And I don't want to watch Mandalorian because of her.
And a lot of these superhero movies, the actors only like part of it. Could the director bring a performance out of that actor? Is always the question. That's what made Patty Jenkins good at the first Wonder Woman. She brought power.
Physically, you can see it.
Physically, yeah.
No, but the problem isn't okay. Wait, hold on. Here's the problem. I think everyone looks at her way too much just for her physicality. Again, she's not that great of an actor. And the thing is, I'd rather have an actor who will, again, they can bulk up, they can get muscle. Because I remember, even though, before we knew that Gal Gadot sucked, I remember, all the criticism she got because, she looked like just like a model or whatever. And beginning, she worked out, she built her physique, and and then we saw how great she was as in the physical role. But I think that but back then in 2013, when everyone wanted Gina Carano, it was just that mindset, that mind thinking is still going on today. Of let's look at for example, Dave Bautista. Everyone always just wants him a Bane, but I'm the dude is not just big and jacked, he's also extremely intelligent. He could be if they hadn't already cast Nicholas Hoult, he could have been a great Lex Luthor.
That would have been a very interesting portrayal.
Yeah, he can be or I've seen some people fan cast him as Hugo Strange or whatnot. So again, it's I think it's something the physicality part that can be worked in externally, through whatever. I rather them focus on getting the best actor they can, and then they will get into said role.
So what's your favorite Wonder Woman iteration, Rach?
I mean, 2017. I feel like the richness of the story and the amount of content we got with her is greater than a lot of otherness. I really wish the continuation was better, but okay. I'll always love that movie.
Chris, what's your favorite version of Wonder Woman?
probably Linda Carter's, because that's the
Okay.
one I grew up
OG.
on. Like the thing is about that one, because if you watch the TV show, it started off in the 1940s, and then like towards the later seasons, it turned into 1970s, and people were having like afros, and the music was different. And I think it had a network change. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure about that, but I think it was on CBS, and then moved to ABC, and then when it changed networks, they updated it from a 40s show to a 70s show.
Mm.
And that, but I did I just remember the episode so vividly. I thought Linda Carter did what she could with that, with the TV show, and I think they're like, if you again, the early seasons of the show had a little bit more seriousness to it, and the latter seasons were like they kind of were a little bit more corny. But I like corny stuff sometimes, especially at that age.
Okay. Yeah, I think my favorite version, and then we'll go to Andy. My favorite version would probably be the Justice League version, just because I feel like I spent the most time with that character. Like I think Gal was great in the first movie. I think Linda Carter, like that's the original. You can't knock anything off of that. And I think she gave more gravitas to that character than maybe another actress would. Given kind of like you said, Chris, like the latter seasons getting more corny, but you never felt like Diana herself was a joke.
Right.
But to me, like
she used to do Battle of the Network Stars, Linda Carter.
When that was a thing.
That's on that show. Like there's clips of YouTube of her like doing all those sports competitions that they used to do back in the 70s, 80s. She was kicking ass.
Yeah, like that's a concept that needs to come back. Let's see Ray Romano out here doing physical competitions. But like the Justice League Wonder Woman, I think just her relationship with all the other main characters in the league was just so fleshed out. There were like Rachel said, there were a lot of mythological episodes where we see her dealing with Ares and her dealing with her mother and stuff like that were cool. And just like Susan Eisenberg being able to inflect so much personality into that character with her voice, I always thought they did a good job with that. So that's my pick. What about you, Andy?
I mean, I do love the 2017 Wonder Woman movie. I like what we got of Diana in the Snyder Cut. But I mean, like if I'm gonna, as a whole perspective, like it is Susan Eisenberg, of course. I mean, I didn't grow up watching the Linda Carter show. Like I've seen episodes here and there. Because the way I got introduced to Linda Carter was because she was on Smallville as Chloe's mom, which like I'm like, because I remember people were like, talking about like, it's oh my god, it's Linda Carter. I'm like, who's that? And they're like, oh, you're so young. She was Wonder Woman. But Linda is phenomenal. Like she when you like she is just as awesome on screen as she is in real life. Like like you see on social media and everything. Like she is, like we wouldn't have Wonder Woman without her in a lot of ways. Of course, the comics and the creators are imperative to where we got with Wonder Woman today as a society. But like Linda Carter is a huge part of that as well. So yeah, Susan Eisenberg, like again, like every time, that's how I got introduced to Wonder Woman. And every time, like they dealt with any like personal stories of her, it was always moving. And I loved, I mean, that's where we got the ship Wonder Bat from, like the episode when like they all become like kids. And like
that's my favorite episode of Unlimited.
It is so adorable. And like I was like, oh my god, just give me like a teenage Wonder Girl bad boy show with these two. Like, don't even age them up again. Like, all the Justice League, they grew up, but for some reason they're just kept as teenager. Like, this is so cute, this is so adorable. Let's see them grow up together again. And but yeah, so like Susan Eisenberg, and like and she's like the way she's always respected Wonder Woman, the way she keeps coming back for the character, like it doesn't just feel like because with some actors you can tell like it's just a cash grab, but with her like she like so freaking enjoys it. And yeah, so I would say Wonder Woman, Bruce Timm's Wonder Woman by Susan Eisenberg.
Okay. Ray Williams, I know you don't watch movies, but you had to see some Wonder Woman in your life. What's your favorite version of Wonder Woman?
To be honest with you, like I really haven't watched I haven't.
Why do you hate women, Ray? Why are you upholding the patriarchy, Ray?
Yeah, we have a woman right here.
I like Captain Marvel.
It's a white woman of all people, and like we us men, we have to be on extra more behavior. So you're gonna disrespect Miss Rachel like
Ray's
that?
Gonna get us canceled.
I like Captain Marvel too. I can say that.
I did like the Marvels as well.
Yeah, the Marvels was pretty good despite all the hate it got.
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't, just like with the Peacemaker talk, I have nothing to add.
Oh wow, Ray, this is like a top tier character, Ray. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, Ray.
Top 10.
I wasn't really in the DC like that. Like I didn't.
You were a Marvel guy back in the day.
Superman. Yeah, I was more into the MCU. Yeah.
Okay.
No offense, Jermaine.
See, Jermaine's gonna send you so many hate letters after this episode airs. And it's airing now.
Like that one famous listener email we got from Black Lightning Podcast, from that one listener who goes, why is it so black diggity black or whatever? Like,
yeah, he's like we're I don't think Chris has heard this story. So like before I joined the Black Lightning Podcast, there was a listener that sent feedback in, and they're reviewing episodes of the Black Lightning Show, and he's like, every week with you guys, it's always blackity black. I'm tired of all your blackity black talk. Like, why are you so focused on black talk? And you're covering a show called Black Lightning.
Yeah. Could you imagine if I had not cast black hosts for that podcast, and then that doesn't get any complaint from that one listener, but but having black podcasters talking about a black superhero show and their culture, that's somehow like, oh man, cannot believe this podcast, how black it is.
That was your fault, Andy. You should have cast some straight middle-aged white men to talk about Black Lightning. That's what the people want.
Yeah,
we tried to get a black co-host on that woman. Okay, we tried. We really tried.
We did really try. But,
I did like when Vanessa joined up with you guys every now and then.
It was always fun. Yeah, Vanessa. It was always fun. Vanessa, and Vanessa, she's become like a veteran of the DC Podcast Network.
Yeah.
Although because I think I told Nate, but I don't think I ever told Rachel this. There was a point like after, like towards Quiver's end, the end of Quiver podcast, I did start getting like some complaints from some people who were like, "Why are there no white men on your network?" And I'm like, "Are you actually kidding me right now?" I'm like. We've had plenty of white. We've had so many white men in the past. It's like, I think it's because like I was like probably like the only male co-host left on, like before we had Clement and we had Nate. Like I think they were just like, oh, I don't want to hear this fucking. I can't cuss on. I can't say words on air, but like something that has to do with my sexuality. I bet they were like, oh, we need some straight men in here, and I'm like.
We need straight talk about the Green Arrow.
Yeah, we got Nate, we got Clement. I think those were the last straight male hosts we ever had.
We were the DEI hires. But it's funny because Rachel mentioned it earlier, Chris. Like the gentleman that created the character of Wonder Woman was the guy that also invented the polygraph. And I think that's like one of Wonder Woman's most interesting powers that doesn't get really utilized a lot. And when it does, I don't know, some writers have better tacts of dealing with it than others, but like the lasso of truth, I thought was always like an interesting concept.
Yeah, I agree. I always always liked that because it was like when they were compelled, that's when the lasso worked, Yeah. It made sense,
if I had that power, Rachel, I would just be lassoing people all day. Just
that would be so helpful for my job.
Yes.
And tell me the truth now.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Princess Diana on these streets from anybody?
She's my girl. I love her. I am optimistically looking forward to her inclusion in the new DC. What are we calling it? Movie universe, whatever.
DCU.
DCU. Looking forward to in the DCU and where she's going to go from here.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I like Wonder Woman. I liked her better like once in the 90s when they start taking her a little bit more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, maybe not the 90s, maybe the 2000s is probably for the comic book is probably 2005, 2000-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, like Rachel said earlier, if you don't get the Superman right in your universe, then your universe probably isn't going to work. And I would expand that to say you've got to get the Trinity right. You've got to get Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman right, or your universe is going to be like a table with a leg that's not quite the same length as the others. So I'm interested to see, like Rachel said, what this James Gunn DCU version of Wonder Woman can be. And then I'm interested, like the age-old question, Andy, like, what are we going to do about Batman? Like, is it going to be Pattinson? Is it going to be somebody new? What are we going to do about the Bat?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be Robert Pattinson. You know, I know that, like everyone, you know, there's so many people who want to see it happen. I mean, I think it would be cool, but like they made it very clear that this is the Batman universe is an Elseworlds property, and that we're going to have a new Batman, and you know, with the Brave and the Bold movies. So you know, I'm hoping. I personally would like to see Jonathan Bailey as Batman. I think there's a Batman inside of him.
Oh, I think so down with
Zachary
that.
Levi. You don't want Zachary Levi as Batman, Andy?
You want Dean Cain at the same time too as Black Lightning?
Ejectocito, cuz.
Ejectocito, cuz.
You can't go down that route.
Yeah. I'll say one thing I'm excited about Wonder Woman though, because I don't know if you guys did talk about this earlier, but because one thing they're doing with Wonder Woman in a DCU is they're doing a prequel show called Paradise Lost, which is like it's being envisioned for HBO and like kind of like, you know, the early before Diana was born, like it's kind of like the mythology of Themyscira, kind of like the politics of it all.
That.
Yeah, so like I know that they're working on the script for the pilot script at the moment. I don't know who's writing it. Praying to God it's a woman, because like you know, and I think that would be a cool way, because I think I talked to Vanessa about this, that because it would be a prequel, that would be a cool way to introduce Nubia. You know, another Wonder Woman before we meet Diana, because you know, I think we can have more. If we can run around with all these Wonder Girls in the comics, I think we can have more than one Wonder Woman in the DCU. So
That's fine.
yeah, so yeah, I hope that if I had to guess, if things go well with the Wonder Woman movie script, I'm sure that I could see it like be, you know, happening for 2028, because like the 2027 slate is kind of like, you know, we have Man of Tomorrow and the Batman 2, so in 2028 we could have the Batman reboot and the Wonder Woman reboot, and that would be
okay.
It's a pretty big deal.
Maybe even Joker 3, because that's what's hot in the streets.
Why would you do this?
Chris, did you ever see that second Joker movie, man?
Yeah, I saw it.
Man,
it had issues, man. It's like that's a common issue with like Warner Brothers. It's like the first movie will be decent, and then for some reason the sequel is just a little like disconjointed, and you know.
I wanted more singing. I didn't get enough singing in my Joker movie.
Well, I think from a technical standpoint, it's a good movie. The story is all over the place. Like, I don't mind the plot twist at the end, but the problem is also the fact that why are we? You know, they're trying to get another cash grab on it, but it's like we could have had, like, instead, like Todd Phillips could have done a different Batman villain as, like, you know, there's, you know, we could have done a Scarecrow movie, or like we could have done a Lex Luthor movie or something from their point of view. But yeah, it's, you know, I thought Lady Gaga was fine as Harley Quinn.
she was good. I thought we were gonna get more of her in the movie.
Yeah.
I actually was kind of interested in potentially wanting to see the second Joker movie after being like, you cannot pay me to see the first one. Honestly. I was like,
Streaming on
after finding
HBO
out
Max.
about it, I was like, I think I might like that.
It's funny because I feel like
What do you
I
feel?
like the first Joker movie was fine. Like I thought it was a solid movie.
It's a
But I
really good-
think the audience that really, really loved the first Joker movie, they were never going to like what Todd Phillips wanted to do with the second Joker movie. So it's like, if this movie is supposed to be a cash grab, why are you going in the opposite direction of the people that paid cash the first time?
Well, it's and it's like, because musicals is also like, it's challenging in any genre. I think that isn't just a natural musical, but I think that there's definitely there's a world where this sequel would have worked. I just didn't think we needed the music. But
See, I was there for the music, and I wanted more music, Andy. I wanted this to be wicked.
you wanted Cynthia as a
I
Joker.
wanted Joaquin Phoenix to defy gravity. There was no gravity being defied in that one, Chris.
But yeah.
So before we get out of here for this edition of Super Salad, any final thoughts, any plugs that anybody wants to throw out there? Ray, you can come out for this one. Disembodied voice of Ray Williams. And let's start with Andy B. Andy B, good to have you back, brother. Good to see you as always. Any thoughts, any plugs before we get out of here?
It's always a blast talking with you guys. I'm sorry I didn't see the invite sooner, so it's but I'm glad I was able to make it for some of it. You can find me at Andy Bebucht. Yeah, Bebucht is my actual last name. Don't listen to my tag down here. Like, it's just an inside joke. If you know, you know. You can find me at Andy Bebucht on all social media platforms. I'm a senior writer for Screenwriting, covering all the latest in movies and television. I'm also the editor-in-chief of multiversecolor.com, where I work with several amazing people like Rachel, like Nate, Vanessa, who we talked about, and many, many more. Lots of interviews, reviews, coverage coming out from MOC, especially after New York Comic Con. And that's pretty much it. I am kind of on a indefinite hiatus from live streaming video games, but I'm at Anime Bite on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. So if I come back, you'll be followed. So there's that. And thanks for having me. It's always fun talking to you guys.
Okay, and Andy, we're starting some things up on Twitch. We got a Twitch channel now for the network, so maybe we can do some games together.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you guys fall, and I'm kind of like, oh, so Nate wants to get his ass kicked in video games. Cool, that's fine.
So we're only playing sports ball games, Andy. Only sports ball games.
Just because I don't understand sports doesn't mean that I couldn't play sports games well. Okay.
That is fair. That's fair. You might actually be really good at sports games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Who knows? Who knows?
In real life, when I was in school, I was always picked. Like, even though I did not know shit about quarterbacking, they were always picking me as the quarterback because I was like big and fat. So I'm like, I could do things on the field. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I personally never quite mastered the art of walking and looking around at it at the same time in video games. So I wish there was a joke.
The thing that gets me all the time, Rachel, and it's why I love the Grand Theft Auto games, but I'm only good at the walking around parts. Like driving for whatever reason, like I can drive in real life, obviously, but I don't know what it is, Chris. Maybe it's like the perspective. Like driving the car in the video game, always I can't maneuver it, so I always end up getting one of the little Vespa scooters because they're easier to maneuver. And so I'm causing all this mayhem in town, Ray, robbing all these banks and getting away on a Vespa.
So you're telling me that you can't do the one thing that is the purpose of the game, which is driving cars. That's like me saying I play Counter-Strike, but I don't play with guns. I run around with a knife.
Hey, in GoldenEye, they had the slappers only mode where you just run up and slap people.
Yeah. I hated that mode. Yeah,
the slappers mode. Yeah, you had to slap somebody 15 times to kill them. It's like
I
you died of
hated
slapping.
mode and the golden gun.
The golden gun mode was that was a cheat code. Yeah. Oh, Ray, we'll have to get some emulators and get it like a golden. I think that might be a fun night, like a game of GoldenEye with all the people that want to play. Things are afoot. Things are afoot. Speaking of things being afoot, if we get enough subscribers, y'all might see some Ray Williams feet pics. I'm just throwing that out there. Ray Williams, anything you want to promote or plug?
All right. Well, as always, please stay tuned here at the Nefarious Media Network. I should be having a new episode of Styles Break Fights coming up by the end of the week, if not in the next couple of days.
Is Chi back?
Not yet. We'll have her in spirit because
Did Chi quiet quit on you, Ray?
I don't know. Well, I know she's been working hard. She
has been. She's been real. If you follow her on IG, she's been real busy doing big things. We're really proud of her.
Big things. She was recently covering PFL Africa and Rwanda, which I didn't know it was pronounced like that. I thought Rwanda, but it's Rwanda the way she said it.
So Hotel Rwanda.
I thought you all said Wakanda for a second. I'm like, wait, what?
Might be that too. I mean, she is.
Ain't no UFC fights taking place in Wakanda.
Yeah, not UFC. Nah.
Dana White is not stepping foot in Wakanda.
And T'Challa would not have it. No. But I was going to put up some interviews, some post-fight interviews that she had with some of the winners of the night. And we're also going to do just cover UFC 321, which occurred over this past weekend with controversial ending to the main event between UFC undisputed heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and contender Cyril Gane. So you have to tune in for my thoughts for that one, as well as my tribute to the late great MMA trainer Duke Rufus. So that should be coming within by the end.
Okay, so even if we don't get Chi live, there will be some Chinyere Okafor presence.
Yes, I'm always gonna keep her until she says keep my name out your effing mouth, like Will Smith. I'm gonna keep her alive on the channel.
All right, good stuff from Ray Williams as always. Thank you to our producer here, Professor. Anything that you would like to promote? Thank you for joining us. I know you had a busy night tonight, brother, but anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
No. You follow me on Substack. I'm looking forward to when we get to talk about this NBA gambling ring. So pay attention to the network. But yeah, Substack. It's on the screen. ProfessorEley.substack.com.
Okay.
At 1,100 subscribers right now, so
nice.
A little bit over, so it's cool. And then, I'm on the Blue Sky, Twitter, all that stuff. KMEZ does it.
Okay. As for me, you can find me here with Chris and Ray and Gerard and Jarek and Rachel and Brittany and Jennifer Smith occasionally, sporadically, and Chi and Sister Maria once in the blue moon. And I think that's everybody that's on the payroll right now. Steve Willie.
I'm supposed to be paid?
No, guests don't get paid, Andy.
Okay.
We put all the money in the budget to secure the services of Rachel. Rachel didn't come cheap. So everybody else is having to eat peanut butter and jelly for dinner.
And you can't get the company car, brother.
We pay you in compliments, sir. But for more from me, you know where to go. Nefarious Media Network is where you can find me and us. Black Nate on IG, BLAQUE_8. Nate Mosaic on Twitter and Blue Sky. And follow the Nefarious Media Network on all of our social media platforms. We just crossed 300 followers on IG, which is a good number because I think a couple weeks ago we were only at like 112. And so like the last few weeks, people have been tuning in and checking out what we're doing, and we appreciate that. And if you enjoy what you're hearing and seeing, support us because we're on the drive for 500 YouTube subscribers, which gets us halfway to monetization, and 500 Patreon subscribers, which would allow us to do a lot of different things here at the network, get some production help for Ray, improve some of the equipment, bring on some new hosts. There's a lot of things that we got going on behind the scenes, a lot of things that we're thinking about, not the least of which being Put You On Game, the Ray Williams-led video game show. There's a lot of things we want to do, but it takes time and money. And since a lot of us cannot get more time because we've got jobs and things, the only thing that can help us is more money. And that's where you come in, audience. So we appreciate everybody that's already supporting us. We got the Patreon $3 gets you in the door. We got certain benefit levels, so you can check that out. And if you're already subscribed, then the easiest thing you can do is share us with your friends. If you like what we're doing here with independent thought, support the network and support us because we're trying to make some things happen in this space. So that's where you can find me. But this whole show would not be possible without our very own Wonder Woman. So Kal-El, no, OG Rachel, what have you got to say, my friend?
Rachel is how you say it.
Rachel, no, as we leave this week.
You guys are cracking me up. I don't have a whole lot going on at the moment other than the show. I am mostly just vibing and surviving. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rachel Eiley. That's RACHELEILEY. I mostly post about K-pop and occasionally law stuff in politics if it occasionally pisses me off enough, which has been a lot lately. So lots of fun opinions and stuff going on there. But that is pretty much it for me. Nate, are we good to go?
I think we're good to go, and I'm glad you brought up politics because we do need to talk more politics on this show. We got a big midterm coming up in Virginia, and Chris knows one of the greatest tools in a campaign could be your advertisements. And much like that damn Foxy Shazam song is stuck in my head all day, Ray Williams. The other thing that's stuck in my head all day, I am speaking.
Oh,
and then Winston Sears commercial. I am speaking.
I am speaking. I am speaking. I am speaking.
Luigi will be appearing in court on December 5th, so that's also a good political discussion to have there.
Okay, yes, we could talk about that because I do think that's an interesting conversation. But yes, I am speaking has been living in my head rent free for the past 2 months, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Proposition 50 gets voted on out here on Tuesday.
Okay, so yeah, elections still matter even if they're not in presidential years, folks, because there are a lot of things that can be changed on the ground level.
Oh,
so
no,
go vote.
Yeah, Trump is already trying to say that Prop 50 is rigged, so, and the media is not even covering it. So
that means they're threatened.
Media, so.
Can you just do brief detail? I know we try and close out, but what is Prop 50?
Prop 50 is to redistrict California, gerrymander it.
Oh.
It's for partisan gerrymandering. It's a response to what's going on in Texas with their partisan gerrymandering.
Oh.
So California is like, we'll partisan gerrymander too. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Like the Shazam song says, "Oh, Julian, it's a lonely world."
Yes, I feel like it's gonna get worse before it gets better, Chris.
It is. It 100%.
Okay, Harvey Dent. Okay, bright is always darkest before the dawn. Okay.
Yes, always darkest. We just out here vibing and surviving, as Rachel said, Andy.
It's always darkest before it starts getting light again. So true.
That is a scientific fact, Rachel. But yes, I believe that is it for episode 4 or issue number 4 of Super Salad, aptly named Keep On Keeping On. So Rachel, the floor is yours to send us home, my friend.
Alrighty, folks, we are wrapping up for today. Hope you enjoyed our fun discussion about Wonder Woman and Peacemaker and all the fun things coming up in the DC universe. Hope you guys have an awesome week, and we will catch you next time. Bye.